Yeah, that's, I gave kudos to Jeb Bush for saying it. He's being strong with Trump, but he can insult his way to the presidency because people like that kind of tough talk. People love bullies now. Bullying is the new cool thing to do.
It is? I thought we have all these anti-bullying campaigns and safe spaces and trigger warnings. People don't even know what bullying is anymore.
Well, my kids came home yesterday with went to the Apple store and they did a anti-stop bullying video that they made. And then I looked at it and then I was watching the Donald Trump debate because it was really, him and Ted Cruz, but it was him bullying. And I thought, well, what are we teaching our kids? We're telling them to be nice and respect one another. And all we're doing now is throwing insults at people via social media and through our presidential candidates.
Oh, is this like, are you doing your John Kasich impersonation? Like,
no,
my daughter says that I should, the politics is too loud and too mean. I would rather listen to John Kasich's daughter on that stage. John Kasich reciting corporate motivational posters.
No, what I'm doing right now is my John Kasich. If you're watching us on the web.
The safety dance.
And I don't know if he was landing a jumbo jet or an Airbus or a 737, but he was doing this, and it was.
Well, as John Kasich said,
his hands.
You can dance if you want to. You can leave your cares behind.
Because if your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then they're no friend of mine.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Men without hats. John Kasich.
Yeah, I mean,
man without support. But I'll tell you what, Trump may be able to insult his way to the presidency if his insults are focused on Jeb.
Oh.
Look, this is not a serious proposal. In fact, it will push the Muslim world, the Arab world, away from us at a time when we need to re-engage with them to be able to create a strategy to destroy ISIS. So Donald, is great at the one-liners, but he's a chaos candidate, and he'd be a chaos president. He would not be the commander-in-chief we need to keep our country safe.
And then Maxwell Smart responded to chaos.
Jeb doesn't really believe I'm unhinged. He said that very simply because he has failed in this campaign. It's been a total disaster. Nobody cares. And frankly, I'm the solid person up here. I built a tremendous company, and all I want to do is make America great again. I don't want our country to be taken away from us, and that's what's happening. The policies that we've suffered under other presidents have been a disaster for our country. We want to make America great again. And Jeb, in all fairness, he doesn't believe that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And later he said, I'm at 43 or 42, you're at 3.
Right.
Sit down, shut up. I've got this.
Nobody cares. He's largely right about that, as it pertains to Jeb. I don't think a lot of people do care. And part of it is, we were talking to Byron York yesterday from the Washington Examiner in advance of last night's debate. Well, the Jeb people are saying that this is really the kind of format where he's going to shine. He's going to show his commander-in-chief bona fides, and this is an area he excels. Even if there are thoughts rattling around in Jeb's head that would be interesting, they don't make it out through his mouth. I mean, he recites kind of the same positions, kind of bullet point positions as most of the other candidates, and then he just has trouble articulating anything else other than, this is ridiculous, this isn't serious. He just is uninteresting. It's.
Don't you think he made a good point, though, about
I don't think he made any point.
Well, I thought he did about when, Trump's proposal to ban all Muslims from coming here, saying, no, we have to work with the ones that are not radicalized in order to defeat ISIS. That you can't rule out anyone from coming here because of their religion. I thought that was a strong point for Jeb Bush. I think he seemed more lively and a little bit more assertive. At least he's kind of crawling his way back. The person who besides John Kasich and, Chris Christie had one shining moment, but Ben Carson, I'm done with him. I mean, he could be a victim of circumstance if you think about it, because these terror attacks happen. People are concerned about national security, and he didn't shine at all. And when his exchange with Hugh Hewitt, when Hugh Hewitt asked him a legitimate question, if you're commander-in-chief and you're going to need to go to war, there's going to be casualties, and innocent children are going to be killed.
You mentioned in your opening remarks that you're a pediatric neurologist surgeon. Neurosurgeon. And people admire and respect and are inspired by your life story, your kindness, your evangelical core support. We're talking about ruthless things tonight. Carpet bombing, toughness, war. And people wonder, Could you do that? Could you order airstrikes that would kill innocent children by not the scores, but the hundreds and the thousands? Could you wage war as a commander-in-chief?
Well, interestingly enough, you should see the eyes of some of those children when I say to them, we're going to have to open your head up and take out this tumor. They're not happy about it, believe me. And they don't like me very much at that point. But later on, they love me. Sometimes I sound like him. Later on, they really realize what's going on. And by the same token, you have to be able to look at the big picture.
What? He didn't even answer the question. I mean, he's so irrelevant. It's over for Ben Carson.
He got to it. Actually, I disagree about Carson. I mean, I don't think he's going to be the nominee, and I don't think he did anything really to change the trajectory of his campaign last night. But I actually thought the quality of his answers were much better on these topics of national security and related topics than they have been in past debates. I think it's clear he's been doing his homework. I thought his answer about the Syrian refugees, his experience in those camps, visiting those camps and talking to Syrian refugees, was actually quite cogent and illuminating. He demonstrated some specific knowledge of the nuclear triad and the kind of the state of readiness of our military capacity. That question from Hugh Hewitt, actually, especially the follow-up, are you ruthless enough to kill scores of children? A little incendiary, a little silly. Actually.
Do you think that was a little self-serving on Hugh Hewitt's part?
It was silly. It was incendiary.
But he didn't answer the first question. Well, he started talking about brain surgery, looking kids in the eyes.
He was making a comparison and a metaphor, effectively, and he essentially got to it. Hugh Hewitt followed up. The audience booed Hugh Hewitt.
Yeah, I know.
And Carson, basically said, look, it's not about being ruthless or merciless or the toughest guy in the block. Carson's point was essentially it's about being measured and mission-focused and getting to the main thing quickly so it doesn't linger on and ultimately over the long term inflict more damage than it would if you would have gotten to the main thing immediately. I think that's the point Carson was trying to make. And Hugh Hewitt's, kill scores of children. Obviously, nobody wants to do that. And are you ruthless enough to kill children? What kind of question is that? Come on. That was silliness.
I didn't think it was that bad. I know, 312-642-5600. What are going to be the most talked about moments today? And Dan, who do you think came on top? If you had to vote today, who would you vote for?
Well, I think Ted Cruz. I think, as I predicted on this show.
Yes.
The much hyped Trump versus Cruz showdown slugfest turned out to be what? A pillow fight, a love-in. Even when there was the moment for them to go after one another, they both demurred. Trump is smart in this respect. I don't think he had a great performance, but he picks his targets well. So taking on Jeb, which was his main target last night, is good for Trump. So I think Trump holds serve. I think Ted Cruz holds serve. I think Marco Rubio largely holds serve. I think this boils down to the three candidates that have the most legitimate path to the nomination going into the debate. I think there's the same three candidates. What really happened last night, though, is you saw a rivalry develop between Cruz and Rubio. That's where there was friction over metadata collection programs, friction over immigration. Rand Paul got into the mix a little bit. I thought he had a couple of nice moments. And it's interesting, you actually see this schism in the Senate between like a Rand Paul and Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, and then on the undercard, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham.
Did you watch the undercard? It was pretty good.
It was. I mean, nobody does a Slim Pickens impersonation like Lindsey Graham.
I was going to get him some tissue.
I'm not sure. Actually, the shorter list is the list of countries Lindsey Graham does not want to send U.S. troops. It's really interesting, but I think you really saw some divides, and they're not massive, but they are substantive. And the Cruz-Rubio exchanges, to me, with a little bit of Rand Paul, were the most interesting. Starting, for example, here's Rand Paul going after Rubio after Ted Cruz did.
I think Marco gets it completely wrong. We are not any safer through the bulk collection of all Americans' records. In fact, I think we're less safe. We get so distracted by all of the information, we're not spending enough time getting specific information on terrorists. The other thing is the one thing that might have stopped Senator Bernardino, that might have stopped 9/11, would have been stricter controls on those who came here. And Marco has opposed at every point increased security, border security for those who come to our country.
And he, went on to mention the Gang of Eight bill, which is really Rubio's weak underbelly. Greg in LaGrange, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Hey.
I agree with Dan. Like I told just call screener, I seem to do often in these debates. I just believe that Jeb Bush's time has come, and I thought Hugh Hewitt's question was absolutely terrible. I was very surprised that he would ask that kind of question.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Greg.
I was just seeing if he had the testicular fortitude to go to war.
Yeah,
really. I don't think it was that bad. I was really surprised by the audience's response, and I guess some response from our listeners, too. I thought it was a legitimate question.
I don't. First of all, the premise of it is wrong. Do you have the courage to kill children?
How would you have answered that
Killing
question?
children is not courageous, and that's not the issue. The issue is, do I have the judgment and as well as the fortitude, to invoke cardinal virtues, to effect justice for Americans, to provide for the safety of Americans by going after an existential threat to Americans? That's the question. And that's the way Hugh Hewitt should have phrased it. But I mean, look, I didn't
that's a great suggestion.
I didn't graduate from Harvard. So, I mean, all these Harvard guys, they're smart. Tom and Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thanks for taking my call. I think it comes down to who has the less baggage. Is your phone?
Uh-oh.
Is your phone working right?
Yeah, I don't know. Is yours? Go ahead, Tom. I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I think it comes down to who has the least amount of baggage, and that would be Donald Trump. He has...
Wow, that's a statement.
Yeah. Well, given the fact that there isn't very much love out there for Republican politicians who have done nothing for the last 7 years except accommodate everything Obama wants, I think it comes down to who do we trust to go in there and repeal every dirty, rotten thing that Obama did legally and illegally? Who do we trust to get rid of all of his executive orders? Who do we trust to get rid of all the illegal laws he passed pertaining to Obamacare? Who do we trust to get rid of Obamacare? Who do we trust to go in there and just do what needs to be done without worrying about what his supporters or what his financial backers might think of it? And I think that guy is Donald Trump.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The least baggage. Okay. Weather forecast for today, a passing morning shower or two, otherwise mostly cloudy, breezy, still mild for this time of year, a high of 52 degrees. Then tonight, the cold begins, cloudy, breezy, colder tomorrow, a high in the mid-30s. Let's see how the travel times are shaping up this Wednesday morning. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. And some of that morning precipitation is encroaching now. A little fog and mist in Aurora, some precip in the Elgin area. It's mainly to the west, but it is coming, so allow some extra time this morning. As of right now, though, expressways are in pretty good shape. The inbound Ryan has the usual 2-minute delay from 18th into downtown. Bishop Ford, about a 3-minute delay from 103rd to the merge. Everything else is fine at the moment. At O'Hare, just a few flight delays, mainly affecting arrivals. Midway, all clear. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else. From those who've operated in the political and policy arenas each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, this week featuring Congressman Peter Roskam. That's our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. And you can also check out a featured commentary right now that I did on why Republicans should lead the Rahm recall. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view heard that are not heard anywhere else. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
I've been taking it, and I'm actually feeling better. I know that I'm not coughing anymore, and I was coughing all the time.
I notice my body feels better.
I have diabetes. I had my blood work done, and I had really good numbers. want to thank you for, your product and all that. It's been great.
I got my kids taking them now. Got my parents taking them. My brothers, my best friends. Got everybody on them.
I love the product, and I love Dr. Howard. I trust him. I feel safe. I think his product is superb. I'm going to continue with it.
Get started early on your New Year's resolution with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
All I want for Christmas.
We'd love for you to have a very Merry Christmas and to help those in need this time of year. And once again, we've teamed up with Feed the Children for our annual campaign to feed 18,000 needy children in and around the Chicagoland area this year. We're asking for a one-time donation of $76. That will help feed 16 hungry children, and really any amount you can donate would be much appreciated. Call this number, 866-435-2248. Operators are always standing by 24/7 to take your information. It takes 2 minutes to help so many, and that's just one way you can help. And there's another way, Dan Proft.
Well, there is indeed, Amy Jacobson. You can join companies like Air Filter Engineers and Viking Ski Shop and Charles Equipment and Express Pros and Lindholm Roofing and North State Steel and dozens of others by participating in our business benefactor program, wherein you make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children, and you receive 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., so prime broadcasting hours, on these airwaves at AM 560, The Answer. All you do is call sales manager Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527. Again, 847-871-1527. Ask Michael Mann about the business benefactor program, and he will get you signed up. Or you can simply text the word FEED to our turnkey.pro text line, 64636. And you'll be prompted to enroll.
So if you're the owner of a small business or if you do marketing for your company, really, it's a great way to advertise. Nowhere else in Chicago could you get 40 one-minute commercials for $2,500. And again, all the money goes to Feed the Children. And then we'll give you those commercials. Dan Proft can even voice those commercials for you if you'd like. But it's a great way to help the needy as well as helping your business get noticed, maybe take it to the next level. Time is running out. Slots are filling up quickly. So call Michael Mann. You know what? Call him right now. Wake him up. 847-871-1527. I think he's still in his pajamas, but he'll take your phone call. 847-871-1527.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
No one ever imagines facing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia and needing full-time care, but it happens. And deciding on the right residential care for mom or dad can be a monumental task. There is a memory care community that focuses on helping your parent or loved one with dementia light up and live life to the fullest, making them feel like family. Autumn Leaves memory care communities see past the diagnosis to the person you know, that your dad was a fantastic cook, or that your mom loved to dance, a person who deserves so much more than being just an Alzheimer's patient. Whether it's through yoga and music therapy or simply by cooking them their favorite meal, Autumn Leaves strives to stimulate their minds and bodies to respect and nurture the person you care so much about. See for yourself the difference Autumn Leaves communities can mean for your family. Autumn Leaves, dedicated solely to the unique needs of memory care patients.
Autumn Leaves has 10 locations in the Chicagoland area offering day-stay respite and assisted living programs. Call 888-662-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
For a long time, Turnkey IT has been providing solutions to AM 560 business owners. It's a name that you have come to know and trust. Turnkey IT takes care of your technology and has a plan that fits your company's IT budget and network needs. Interested in moving some or all of your business to the cloud? Turnkey IT can migrate your network to Microsoft's Office 365. Need someone to call when you can't print, have a lost file, or need tech support? Turnkey IT's got you covered. Offsite backup? Check. On-site support? Check. Help desk support? Check. Turnkey IT staff is professional, friendly, punctual, and will solve all of your technical problems immediately or even after normal business hours, all for a fixed monthly rate. Turnkey IT knows your network is truly the heartbeat of your company, so focus on your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, yeah, John Kasich Safety Dance.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it this morning. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer. What is coming up, Dan?
I'm just watching you do the safety. I haven't seen, a Men Without Hats rendition like that in a long time. It's very, very good.
Bring in the maypole later.
Coming up, we need a metadata program just to monitor Hillary Clinton's communications. A little bit of update on those emails that didn't contain classified information at the time. So saith the former Secretary of State. We'll have that story at 5:35.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to a dancing man, Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Cloudy and 40 degrees. The latest Republican presidential debate took on the thorny topic of surveillance versus privacy last night. You've heard Dan and Amy talk about it already this morning. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul said last night that terrorists will win if America gives up its freedoms.
I think if we ban certain religions, if we censor the internet, I think that at that point, the terrorists will have won.
Frontrunner Donald Trump defended his proposal to bar Muslims from entering the U.S.
We are not talking about isolation. We're talking about security. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about security. Our country is out of control.
Jeb Bush remarking that Trump, while great at one-liners, would be a chaos candidate.
So Donald, is great at the one-liners, but he's a chaos candidate, and he'd be a chaos president. He would not be the commander-in-chief we need to keep our country safe.
And candidate Carly Fiorina also took full aim at Donald Trump.
It's time to take our country back. Bombast and insults won't take it back. Political rhetoric that promises a lot and delivers little won't take it back.
Democrats debate Saturday evening at 7. Los Angeles public schools back in session today after they were shut down because of an email threat yesterday.
We believe that our schools are safe, and we can reopen schools in the Los Angeles Unified School District tomorrow morning.
That means today, California Congressman Adam Schiff is investigating himself, saying the threat was likely a hoax. Congressional leaders say they're ready to push a compromise on tax cuts and spending through the House and Senate. Republicans announcing last night that bargainers had agreed to a bipartisan package. Federal Reserve wrapping up its December meeting today, expected to raise short-term interest rates for the first time in nearly a decade. A jury in Baltimore resumes deliberations this morning in the trial of one of 6 police officers charged in the death of Freddie Gray. William Porter is charged with manslaughter and other offenses. The FAA this morning reporting an airliner headed to New Jersey was hit by a green laser at 3,000 feet Tuesday night. Authorities say one person has survived the crash of a medical helicopter that went down in rugged terrain overnight east of Phoenix. 3 were on that chopper. Again, 2 are confirmed dead. 1 has survived. Funeral services held this week for a Chicago firefighter who died after tumbling down an elevator shaft battling a warehouse fire. Chicago fire officials say visitation for 42-year-old Daniel Capuano is Thursday afternoon at St. Rita High School. Chicago sports. Well, the streak finally ends for Patrick Kane. 26 games. Kane's franchise record streak was the longest point-scoring streak since Matt Sundin's 30-game stretch in 1992-93. Colorado won their contest with the Hawks last night, 3-0. The news, a service of Think It Up, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is a must-have for all busy parents. With just one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer takes your child's temperature quickly and accurately. Available at Walgreens.
Okay, radio listeners, I've got the Christmas deal of the day for you right here. Sherry's Berries. Their gourmet berries are fresh, juicy, and dipped in dark, white, and milk chocolatey deliciousness. Then they're sprinkled with toppings like chocolate chips and nuts. And right now, you can get these gourmet dipped berries starting at $19.99. Plus, get this, you order today and you'll get double the berries for just $10 more. That's a really sweet deal. And Sherry's Berries are so decadent, juicy, and delicious. One bite and the excitement on their face will say it all. They're perfect for friends, family, or that amazing party host, your child's teacher, the office. If you want to make anyone's holidays happy, these berries are the gift to send. Gourmet dipped berries starting at $19.99 and double the berries for $10 more. But you gotta hurry, Christmas is almost here, and this deal expires Friday. The only way to get this amazing offer is to go to berries.com, click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner, and enter secret code 4000. That's BERRIES.com, secret code 4000.
Square Trade does not cover lost or stolen items. Savings based on 2-year iPhone plan with one claim compared to Assurant total equipment coverage as of April 10th, 2015.
Getting a new Galaxy, iPhone, or other smartphone? Get this. Every 2 seconds, one of us accidentally breaks our phone. So protecting your new smartphone is a smart idea. But if you have insurance from one of those big cell phone companies, you're paying way too much. I'm Steve Abernethy, and I founded Square Trade to give you a better choice. Phone insurance from Verizon, Sprint, or other wireless carriers can cost you as much as $11 every month, plus up to $199 deductible when you break your phone. Square Trade phone protection is less than $5 a month with a much lower deductible. We can save you over $240. And switching to Square Trade is easy. Even if you're locked into a 2-year phone contract with Verizon, Sprint, or other wireless carrier, you can cancel their phone insurance anytime. We'll even show you how.
Switch to Square Trade now and save over $240. Visit squaretrade.com. That's squaretrade.com.
Square Trade!
5:36 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. The very latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. 8094 westbound traffic is slow from Klein Avenue to Kennedy Avenue. There's a crash there on the left shoulder. Eastbound side is looking fine. Inbound Bishop Ford. Slow now from 115th to the Ryan. 21 minutes from 8094 to the merge. Outbound fine at 15. Inbound Ryan has a 3-minute delay from Cermak into downtown. Outbound it's clear. No delays to report yet on the Edens, Kennedy, or the Eisenhower. Stevenson still fine. The tollways as well. No problems to report on Lakeshore Drive. Very few flight delays. There are a few, though, at O'Hare affecting some arrivals. There is some precipitation coming in to the west, so factor that in. In fact, it's already a bit foggy and misty in Aurora. Traffic is a service of Think It Up. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Passing morning shower, in fact, some rain moving through the area right about now. Cloudy, breezy, 52. Cloudy and 30 overnight, 41 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Joe Walsh here. Listen to Freedom any time of any day. Go to walshfreedom.com/podcast. Freedom returns at 5.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So one of the underreported aspects of the debate that I don't want to gloss over is the performance of Wolf Blitzer. Wolf Blitzer is the moderator.
Yeah. How do you think he did?
He did okay. Yeah. One of the things, and this is all of them, it became a little bit after 2 hours, it was a bit of sawing sawdust. It was kind of gradations of the same question and thus more or less the same answers over and over again. So there was some redundancy to it. It wasn't terrible.
Oh.
But I mean,
he didn't make any news.
But there's this personal story about Wolf Blitzer that not everybody knows either, and I think that should be included. I mean, this is
a really touching, emotional story, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, we get behind the curtains to understand the candidates, their personal lives, their family lives.
Yeah, because remember, if you want to know about a man, just ask his children.
Right, and so we should find out about Wolf Blitzer as well.
Everyone is talking about the incredible story of Molly, the 10-year-old girl who was raised by Wolf Blitzer.
That's right. Taken in as an infant, Molly then spent her whole life copying his language and behavior, becoming a kind of a half-human, half-Wolf Blitzer in the process.
Now, 3 months ago, Molly was taken into protective custody, and today she's here to share her story.
Yes, she is. Molly joined us in the studio this morning alongside Dr. Kenneth Ives, the developmental psychologist who is devoting himself to her case. Good morning to you both.
Thank you, Jim Haggerty, Tracy Gill. I really appreciate the chance to talk about my rather unique upbringing.
Now, Molly, you've been through so much. Are you doing okay?
Well, no question, Jim. It certainly is going to be difficult for me to re-enter society, so I am really looking forward to getting your perspective on the matter. Tracy Gill, co-host of Today Now, what's your take?
Well, I have to admit, it's a little hard to understand her.
Yeah. Yes, the only way she knows how to communicate is through Wolf Blitzer's colorless monotone.
To me, always listing synonyms to words at the end of my sentences was just typical. Normal, par for the course.
We are currently trying to teach her more human-like speech patterns.
Right, well, it sounds like he really cared for you.
Well, Jim, I think it's open to debate if Wolf Blitzer has the ability to care for others. Per se, Dr. Ives might have some thoughts on that. But he's certainly protected.
From what
is genius, just genius. That little girl who did that Onion television bit, obviously.
Yeah, it's from the Onion, satire.
Yeah, not real.
Not
Wolf Blitzer
real.
did not actually take this 10-year-old girl in and turn her into a Wolf Blitzer automaton. But it's great. She, if you go online and watch it, we'll post it. She's got the suit on with the pocket square, her hair pulled back. This little 10-year-old girl. She was just great.
Tweet it out,
Excellent.
yes.
It was really fun. So that's Wolf Blitzer. But I was surprised in the debate. In addition to learning about Wolf Blitzer's touching story, that no candidate brought up the news about Hillary Clinton's emails. Jeb Bush made some kind of oblique reference to her servers, and there's some shots taken at her tenure as Secretary of State, deservedly so. But the story out yesterday, and our friend Catherine Herridge over at Fox News was reporting this. An intelligence community review reaffirmed that 2 classified emails were indeed top secret, designated so, when they hit Hillary Clinton's unsecured personal server, despite a challenge to that designation by the State Department. The agencies that owned and originated the intelligence, the CIA and the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, or NGA, they reviewed the emails to determine how they should be properly stored, as the State Department took issue with their highly classified nature. And remember, the intelligence, the agency from which the intelligence originates determines the designation. So the State Department can protest all they want. If CIA and NGA say these should be top secret, then they're top secret. So this was a review, and the sources who spoke to Catherine Herridge said the emails were indeed top secret when they hit Clinton's server. One of them remains top secret to this day and must be handled at the highest security level. So I would say that's a national security issue when you're talking about emails that are reportedly about drone strikes and North Korean missiles.
Is that what you think's in the emails?
Well, that's what's been reported.
All right.
By the way, North Korea came up towards the end of the debate. They asked about Kim Jong-un and his hydrogen bomb. I had an idea that nobody picked up on. Remember the movie The Interview?
Yeah.
That upset the North Koreans.
Did you see that movie?
It was terrible. Yeah, it's
awful.
Terrible. So my idea, especially since this regime is so interested in prisoner exchanges, why don't we give Kim Jong-un, Seth Rogen, and James Franco, and he gives us their hydrogen bomb? Problem solved.
Yeah.
But it was surprising that that nobody brought this up. As we're talking about data collection, we're talking about cybersecurity. We obviously don't want our infrastructure, technological infrastructure, to be compromised such that enemies of the United States can get access to actionable intelligence. And we have this story that what Hillary Clinton has been saying is untrue. And of course that's true. And that, this is a serious intelligence matter. This in the context of national security conversation.
Yeah, but she's been caught in yet another lie, but no one cares. I mean, you said this one time, and it's so true. If she was ripping the heads off of kittens on Michigan Avenue, people would still, they would look past it and just still, her fans, they are diehard fans. They are not going anywhere. They're going to stick with her. They don't care about the emails.
Well, that's right, but that's only 40% of the electorate. That's just kind of dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. And depending on the nominee, I suppose, maybe you'll see even more peel off than that. But it's just interesting where they chose to go after Hillary and where they didn't. I think this is an issue that is going to continue to haunt her into the general election if properly deployed, properly discussed in this larger context of national security, now that this is the number one issue at present, and will certainly be a substantial issue, even if not the number one issue, assuming no terrorist attack on the homeland between now and November of 2016. This is going to be an issue that needs to be included in the distinguishing of the Republican nominee from Hillary Clinton, in my estimation. I think Carly Fiorina would agree with me. She has perhaps been the most aggressive on Hillary Clinton, but one of the things I didn't like in the debate yesterday was her pulling a Hillary Clinton and playing the gender card.
Well, that's not playing the gender card. She was just quoting Margaret Thatcher.
I'll just add that Margaret Thatcher once said, if you want something talked about, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
Lame.
Why is that lame?
I love Carly, but it's lame. First of all, just a point of order. Margaret Thatcher said that tongue in cheek. That's not to be quoted like, quoting Churchill saying from Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent. I mean, the point is, it was said sardonically. It's not to be taken this is what Margaret Thatcher actually believes, and this is it's beneath Carly to do that.
Well, how about
it's beneath
this quote?
her to play the gender card.
Men rule the world, but we run it. Would that have been better? And I'm quoting no one. I'm quoting myself.
Yeah, I understand. These are great for coffee mugs on Mother's Day, but this is not the point.
Right.
And the problem is it takes away from some of the other answers Carly gave. I thought she gave the best answer, distilled the issue the best in terms of bureaucracy, muddled bureaucracy, and technological backwardness that are threatening, that provide vulnerabilities for the United States in terms of providing for the national security. That was her best moment, but it's undermined by that silliness.
Well, here, what do you think of this? Her tough talk.
Well, first, I'll just point out that talking tough is not the same as being strong. And to wage war, we need a commander-in-chief who has made tough calls in tough times and stood up to be held accountable over and over, not first-term senators who never made an executive decision in their life. One of the things I would immediately do, in addition to defeating them here at home, is bring back the warrior class: Petraeus, McChrystal, Mattis, Keene, Flynn. Every single one of these generals I know, every one was retired early because they told President Obama things that he didn't want to hear. We must have Sunni Arabs involved in this coalition. We must commit leadership, strength, support, and resolve. I'll just add that
Then she did the Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, I mean, that's
all right.
There was substance there. It was good. And by the way, it did, and this was mentioned, referenced by a couple of the candidates, there was an announcement yesterday of 34 Arab countries coming together, putting together a coalition to fight ISIS. So to the point of enlisting Gulf states and Arab nations to be a partner in this. Lindsey Graham made this point over and over again in the undercard debate as well. That there may be some real progress in that direction. Is it still going to require American leadership? Yes, not just American participation, but American leadership. But to see some progress coming from Arab states should be taken as a sign of encouragement, I would suggest.
Those messages disappear all by themselves.
This in Chicago, talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
You may want to grab an umbrella as you head out the door. A passing morning shower or two. Otherwise, mostly cloudy. It's going to be breezy. Extremely mild for this time of year. The high today, 52 degrees, but it should be the last time we're in the 50s this month of December. And then tomorrow, cloudy, breezy, colder, highs in the mid-30s. Big difference there. Is there any big difference, change on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Right now, Amy, it's pretty good. That may change, though. There's some rain coming into the Chicago area, kind of encroaching from the west right now. In northwest Indiana, there was a crash on westbound 8094. It was a little heavy between Klein and Kennedy in that area, but that has cleared. Things are fine there now. On Bishop Ford, it is slow from 115th to the merge. 23 minutes, 8094 to the Ryan. And the Ryan is 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. It's slow from the Stevenson into the Loop. Slight delays on the inbound Eisenhower from Manheim to First. The inbound Stevenson, Cicero to Kedzie, and from State to Lakeshore Drive. I'm Jim Talamonte in the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
There are two kinds of pain. Pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders, as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
Too high. Your property taxes are too high. Illinois has the second highest property tax rate in the country, a burden that unfairly penalizes people like you. Why does Illinois have the second highest property tax rate in the country? Because elected officials spend too much money. Year after year, lawmakers promise to freeze the property tax rate. They make false promises at election time and fail to get the job done. The result? Property tax rates go up and up. It's time to force the politicians to keep their promise to voters. Join Americans for Prosperity in the fight to freeze property taxes. Go to afpil.org to start a tax freeze petition in your community. Go to afpil.org to put the brakes on runaway property taxes. If you're sick and tired of ever increasing property taxes, do something about it. Go to afpil.org, paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
AM 560, The Answer.
Just a hint of peppermint and every single thing begins to feel like Christmas.
Dan and Amy. Amy, I mentioned I was willing to trade Seth Rogen and James Franco to Kim Jong-un for
the hydrogen bomb?
The hydrogen bomb that he allegedly has. I'm
big
willing,
talker, another big bully.
I'm willing. Well, little.
Yeah.
He's Rahm-like. And no, I'm not comparing Rahm
No,
to
don't.
North Korean dictator.
Rahm's office is up for sale on Craigslist, by the way.
I saw that.
Yeah. Are you interested? Any nibbles?
Yeah, it's market rent. I'm also willing to throw DiCaprio in with Rogen and Franco.
Okay.
Leonardo DiCaprio, his new movie, The Revenant, comes out. Some controversy about how graphically he congregates with bears in the movie.
Or they congregate on him.
Something like that. But he, you remember, he showed up to that global climate change junk science thing with Al Gore several years back. And, he's a big fan of Al Gore. He's big lib, Leonardo DiCaprio. And he had some comments about climate change. Made the filming of his new movie, The Revenant, complicated.
Oh, no, why?
We had a lot of complications while shooting, said DiCaprio, because it was the hottest year in recorded history. One day we were trying to do a scene, and it turned out to be 40 below zero, so the gears of the camera didn't work.
Okay.
It was the hottest year in history, and they nearly froze to death, which is why global warming is a real problem.
This is an oxymoron. This is making no sense.
Well, you don't think it makes any sense until you understand a little bit more about Leo, as his buddy Al calls him. Look, not to get political, said DiCaprio, but listening to Bernie Sanders at the first presidential debate was pretty inspiring to hear what he said about the environment. So he's inspired by Bernie Sanders. He's raped by bears, maybe drunk bears. He is someone in need of an intervention, I would suggest.
Well, speaking of people in need, we are still continuing our annual Feed the Children campaign. Our goal this year is to raise enough money to feed 18,000 children in and around the Chicagoland area this holiday season. A donation of $76, that's what we're asking for, will feed 16 hungry children. And to make that call, to make your donation, 866-435-2248. That is the number, 866-435-2248. I donate every year, and literally it takes 2 minutes. Then they're off the phone with you, and that money, what's raised here, will stay here. And that's why we partner up with Feed the Children every year.
That's one way to do it. The other way is to participate in our business benefactor program. With this program, any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children receives in return 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on these airwaves, AM 560 The Answer. All you do is call our sales manager, Michael Mann, directly at 847-871-1527 and ask him about the Business Benefactor Program, and he will get you signed up. You can also simply text the word FEED to 64636, and you'll be prompted to enroll.
And the list is getting long, Dan, of our business benefactors: Chris Jacobs, Century 21 Affiliates, Comet Motorsports, Flex Executives Management Solutions, just to name a few. And you want to be a part of this because you want to be an advertiser on the station in 2016. Everyone's going to be talking about the election. We're talking about last night's debate, and we're the only station in town talking politics all day, every day. So call Michael Mann right now. He's waiting for your phone call, 847-871-1527.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Christmas is coming fast. Last-minute gifts are hard to find. So, guys, here it is. Put your love in a locket with Heartstrings customized lockets. It's super cool, a glass locket that opens to charms inside. Birthstones, initials, hobbies, sports. It's completely up to you. I've got birthstones in mind for my kids and a little microphone for the radio. It's something unique that captures her story in a locket. It's a home run Christmas gift, or ladies, make one for yourself. Choose from over 900 unique charms. Go to one of 4 Heartstrings kiosks at Orland Square Mall and Yorktown Center, Lower Level Center Court, or Gurney Mills and Fox Valley Mall near Macy's. A locket specialist will be right there with you every step of the way. A Heartstring customized locket. She wants it. Get it for her. Find them at Orland Square Mall, Yorktown Center, Fox Valley, or Gurney Mills, or online at yourheartstring.com. That's YOUR heartstring.com. Mention the promo code Amy and get a free charm.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home? Then you need to do what Amy did when she purchased her home and call David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. Stacy's heard hundreds of David's ads, but wanted to contact a realtor before purchasing a home in Plainfield. Bad move. Not getting pre-qualified by David before talking with the realtor is like sunbathing at the equator without suntan lotion. That's vivid.
Ouch.
David answered Stacy's questions, pre-qualified her to purchase a home, and introduced her to Ron Wexler, his radio show's realtor in Plainfield, to purchase a home. Purchasing a home can be overwhelming, but it won't be if you call David first. David can pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to his team of preferred realtors who will help you locate the perfect home. If you're purchasing a home, the only call you need to make is to David at 312-751-1333 or visit him online at am560david.com. David and his team of real estate experts will take care of all of your real estate needs. David's helped Amy and Stacy and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. So call 312-751-1333. Pro Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
Imagine what you would do if your business had a surplus of utility savings. More than 30% of your building's annual energy use comes from your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical service provider, understands that you have better things to do with your money. There are new energy incentives offered by Chicagoland's largest utility provider that could help your business save hundreds, even thousands of dollars every month in utility costs. As a preferred partner, Air Comfort works closely with your business. They will identify the opportunities to reduce energy usage, select, purchase, and install equipment, and even help you complete and submit your incentive paperwork. Start saving on your utilities by calling now for your free consultation at 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
This is Amy Jacobson. I'm excited to tell everybody who's considered buying a MyPillow but hasn't that now with the buy one, get one free offer, you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, it's washable and keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer and 60-day money-back guarantee, visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Please use the promo code Amy. Do it now. This offer is for a limited time, 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, 800-489-0201.
Here are the stories we're following. A funeral set for a Chicago firefighter and Chicago aldermen hold hearings on police shootings. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Donald Trump says he's committed to the Republican Party.
I will do everything in my power to beat Hillary Clinton.
And the frontrunner took a lot of heat from one of his rivals at the CNN debate. Fox's John Roberts was there.
Jeb Bush put on a performance that many of his supporters probably wish he had have done 3 months ago. He was the only candidate to really go after frontrunner Donald Trump last night.
He's a chaos candidate, and he'd be a chaos president.
Jeb doesn't really believe I'm unhinged. He said that very simply because he has failed in this campaign.
Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio have been 2-3 in the polls lately, also got into it.
Ted, you support legalizing people who are in this country illegally.
I have never supported legalization.
Do you rule it out?
I have never supported legalization, and I do not intend to support legalization.
But the fight against terror dominated the debate, the first one since the Paris and San Bernardino attacks. Schools will reopen today in Los Angeles after a terror threat. New York City got a similar one and called it a hoax. Defense Secretary Carter has gone to Iraq. Fox's Simon Owen, live in our European bureau.
Dave, Ashton Carter on an unannounced visit, meeting with Iraqi leaders in Baghdad.
We're looking for ways to do more in the air, on the ground.
Speaking in Turkey before the visit, the Defense Secretary also saying ISIS is not just a U.S. problem.
America's stepping up. We need our allies and partners around the world to step up and do more.
Calling for greater contributions from European and Gulf nations. Dave?
Simon, the jury that told a Baltimore judge it's deadlocked will try again today, deliberating in police officer William Porter's trial, the first of 6 cops to face charges in Freddie Gray's death. It's going to be wintry today from Minnesota to Nebraska, the same storm system that dumped on Denver.
I thought it was going to be pretty light, but it's not.
They got at least 7 inches of snow. Some parts of Colorado got 2 feet. Hundreds of flights were canceled. There were hundreds of accidents on icy roads from Utah to Wyoming to Montana. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 40 degrees, winds out of the south at 12 at 6:02. On AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Funeral services set for a McHenry soldier killed in a chopper crash. Chief Warrant Officer Kevin Weiss died 2 weeks ago during training exercises at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Visitation Friday and a funeral Saturday at Harvest Bible Chapel. Funeral services will be held this week for a Chicago firefighter who died after falling down an elevator shaft battling a warehouse fire on the south side. Visitation for 42-year-old Daniel Capuano is Thursday afternoon at the St. Rita High School Chapel. After a full day of testimony, Chicago aldermen were left with more questions, they say, than answers about police accountability. AM 560's David Stewart monitored those hearings.
Sharon Fairley, the new head of the agency that investigates police misconduct, frustrated aldermen because she lacked details on ongoing cases and practices.
I actually will be looking at the process to make sure that it is as robust as it should be.
Lori Lightfoot of Mayor Emanuel's new police task force promised to cast a wide net,
so that we get as comprehensive a set of feedback from as many stakeholders across our city.
Aldermen did succeed in demonstrating their concern, but the hearing didn't produce anything concrete. David Stewart, Chicago.
A high school teacher in West Suburban Oak Park behind bars after he was accused of having a sexual relationship with one of his students. Jeremy Lind is an English teacher at Oak Park River Forest High School. He's charged with criminal sexual assault. The Rockford School Board moving forward with plans to build new schools, 2 elementary schools in this latest round. $43 million will be spent on construction of the schools. And Bulls legend Michael Jordan setting his picks for charity donations. Jordan naming the 23 charitable organizations that will share the money. He recently was awarded in a legal battle with Jewel Osco and the former Dominic's grocery chain. Charities Jordan names support health, education, and well-being of Chicago area kids. Well done. Chicago sports, NHL, Colorado blanked the Blackhawks 3-0. Game snapping Patrick Kane's point streak at 26 games. Afterwards, Kane saying it was great while it lasted.
Yeah, it was a fun run. I think, you never know what's going to happen with a streak. There was a lot of games when it seemed like I was, down and out, and you end up getting something at the end or whatever it may be. But, it was fun breaking the American record. I was happy with that. And then to break the franchise record, too, that was pretty special as well.
Meantime, some shocking news out of college hoops overnight. Wisconsin coach Bo Ryan announcing his retirement effective immediately. The news, a service of Compassion International. You can release a little boy or little girl living in poverty from that poverty when you become a sponsor with Compassion International. Find out how at compassion.com/radio. 6:04, time to have Air Comfort check your building's mechanical system, and a check. Traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
I think America is dying.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Everybody came here to be free. Everybody came here to strike it out on their own. Everybody wanted government to stay out of their hair. Everybody wanted to be free. Not today. We have way too many people in America who no longer want that America.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
SquareTrade does not cover lost or stolen items. Savings based on 2-year iPhone plan with one claim compared to Asurion total equipment coverage as of April 10th, 2015.
Getting a new Galaxy, iPhone, or other smartphone? Get this. Every 2 seconds, one of us accidentally breaks our phone. So protecting your new smartphone is a smart idea. But if you have insurance from one of those big cell phone companies, you're paying way too much. I'm Steve Abernethy, and I founded SquareTrade to give you a better choice. Phone insurance from Verizon, Sprint, or other wireless carriers can cost you as much as $11 every month, plus up to $199 deductible when you break your phone. SquareTrade phone protection is less than $5 a month with a much lower deductible. We can save you over $240. And switching to SquareTrade is easy. Even if you're locked into a 2-year phone contract with Verizon, Sprint, or other wireless carrier, you can cancel their phone insurance anytime. We'll even show you how.
Switch to SquareTrade now and save over $240. Visit SquareTrade.com. That's SquareTrade.com.
SquareTrade!
6:06, and in our Chicago Radio Deals.com traffic center this morning, here's Jim Telemonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. On the Edens inbound, traffic is stop and go from Dempster to Toohey. There's a crash there in the left lane with IDOT at the scene. And it's 23 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 20. There's a crash just reported at Oakton, which IDOT's responding to. The Kennedy, about 22 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. And about Eisenhower, it's low Manheim to First Avenue. 35 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 30. The Stevenson is 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 23 minutes, 95 to downtown. Bishopfort, pretty heavy. Looking at a travel time of 20 minutes. Make it 21 minutes from 8094 to the merge. I-57 at 19. Northbound Tri-State heavy at 290. So reports of rain in parts of the Chicago area, mainly north and west. Traffic service of Boys and Girls Club of America. It's 3 p.m. School's out for America's kids. But schools out, clubs are in. Time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Visit greatfutures.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A passing shower or two for the morning, otherwise mainly cloudy and breezy today. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high of 50. Then a rather cloudy night with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, low of 30. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Those rain showers in the area lifting to the northeast right now, but they are moving through. 38 at O'Hare, 43 along the lakefront. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
The new ABC News Washington Post poll showing Trump with 38% nationwide. Another poll has him at 41%. The poll's taken after his proposed ban on Muslims coming to America. Next to him tonight, Ted Cruz for the first time, now neck and neck with Trump in Iowa.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
They can kill us, but we can't kill them. That's what you're saying.
If you want something talked about, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
That for Marco to suggest our record's the same, it is like suggesting the fireman and the arsonist have the same record because they're both at the scene of the fire.
Are you ready to reassure Republicans tonight that you will run as a Republican and abide by the decision of the Republicans?
I really am.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. What is up, Dan and Amy? I think Trump is still up after last night's debate.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear him in the spin room? He said he hands down won the debate. Dan, he had the greatest debate ever. That's what he claimed.
Well, since the last greatest debate ever. That's right.
Yeah.
There was a moment where Donald Trump made an important statement, because this has been a bit of a back and forth over the last 6 months with respect to Trump and how he feels he is being treated by the Republican Party, the apparatus of the Republican Party, the leadership of the Republican Party, including Reince Priebus as chairman. And Trump said this in response to a question about from Hugh Hewitt about his willingness to forestall or to foreclose running as an independent and stick with the GOP regardless of outcome.
Are you ready to reassure Republicans tonight that you will run as a Republican and abide by the decision of the Republicans?
I really am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hooray? Question mark? He's staying with the Republican Party. Your thoughts on that? 312-642-5600, the turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, the turnkey.pro text line.
And also the question to our listeners, who came out on top? Who was the winner? Who was the loser from last night? 312-642-5600. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I on the Trump thing, staying in the parties, and he had some nice things to say about conversations he had with Reince Priebus, and he's really, as he said, he really is ready to say, I'm going to stay regardless of outcome. I assume that means because he's increasingly confident he's going to be the nominee. And there may be something to that. There's a really interesting piece by Nate Silver, the sabermetrician, in his 538 blog. The piece is entitled Trump Boom or Trump Bubble. The conclusion is this: don't expect Trump's numbers to fade until his media coverage does. You can't talk about Donald Trump without talking about wall-to-wall coverage of Donald Trump. And what Nate Silver did is go back and look at the last 30 years of presidential campaigns and look at who was the most covered, which candidates on both sides were the most covered, and then ultimately you think about who was the nominee. There hasn't been a discrepancy between the most covered and the second most covered in the Republican Party, in a Republican campaign for the presidential nomination, since Bob Dole, and like there is for Trump versus the second place, the second place person, Jeb Bush. There hasn't been a discrepancy like that since 1996, Bob Dole versus Phil Gramm. Obviously, Bob Dole went on to be a walkaway nominee. Right now, the stories are running at a 6-to-1 ratio, Donald Trump versus the second most covered Republican candidate, Jeb Bush.
Really?
And so Silver's essential analysis is, as I said, he won't fade until media coverage of Donald Trump fades. And do you see media coverage of Donald Trump fading?
No. And he held his own last night. He didn't step in it. He didn't attack Ted Cruz. They're friends again. They got along beautifully yesterday, as you mentioned, Dan. It was a pillow fight rather than, a shark attack. But Jeb Bush and Donald Trump are the ones who were sparring last night, and Donald Trump did not hold back on the Jebster.
This is a tough business to run for president.
I know. You're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is
real tough.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the presidency.
Let's see. I'm at 42 and you're at 3, so far I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
So far I'm doing better. You started off over here, Jeb. You're moving over further and further. Pretty soon you're going to be off the end.
This doesn't do a thing to solve the problem.
One at a time.
Doesn't do a thing to solve
Hugh,
the
go ahead.
problem.
Yeah, this is where Trump is, Jeb trying to pick a fight with Trump. I just don't think that is Jeb's arena. I just think he's bad. He's bad on his feet. He's bad at communicating ideas. He's bad at being succinct and pointed. He's just not good.
Well, is it the deer in the headlights look that he encompasses so well?
I don't think he's a deer. I think he's a smart guy. I think this idea, Jeb is dumb, just like the idea that George W. is dumb, is nonsense. He's a smart guy. You can be very smart and be a bad communicator, and that's what Jeb Bush is, in my estimation. I mean, yesterday, to borrow from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, here's a little tip. When you tell a story or offer a position, have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener. I mean, I just don't know.
What do you mean? Where did he go astray?
I don't recall anything memorable Jeb Bush said on the substance of the matter or even the interplay between candidates other than saying, Trump is the chaos candidate and he'll be a chaos president, to which Trump, of course, quickly responded. I just find it so lacking.
Well, I was surprised to see him coming out of the box and having some fight in him. I thought I saw finally a little fight in him. I was pleased with Jeb Bush. I thought he attacked Trump on the banning Muslims coming to this country. He said, no, we have to work with the Sunnis and we have to work with moderate Muslims to defeat ISIS. It was a solid point.
Yeah, it's a solid point.
But you didn't like the way he delivered it?
It's a legitimate point, but it's not. It doesn't really distinguish him from many of the other candidates. And just the presentation of his views just leaves me wanting. I mean, it really does. And I say that again to say Jeb Bush, when he was governor of Florida, he did a great job. He did a great job. It's not in dispute. It was a conservative reform record. I mean, it's not in dispute if you're a conservative reform-minded type of person. But this is just not his arena. I mean, I don't know how many times you have to see this guy on a stage and watch him bumble through answers like he did yesterday. Even openings and closings. His opening and close that you memorize, he stumbled over himself. It's just not sharp. It's just not sharp. And going back to Trump, here's something else that Trump picked up on. I mean, Trump does have this intuition about the media. Kind of knows when to strike and knows when to play them. Says incendiary things he knows will generate massive coverage. He's imprecise with language. I think part of it is purposeful and part of it isn't, because being imprecise with language is also an indication of being imprecise with thinking. And I think that's part of it. But I also think there's a certain shrewdness to it in terms of manipulating the media. And this was an interesting moment where he took the opportunity to go after CNN by framing every question to Jeb Bush and some of the other candidates. Mr. Trump says this and Mr. Trump says that. Let me get your reaction.
I think it's very sad that CNN leads Jeb Bush, Governor Bush, down a road by starting off virtually all of the questions. Mr. Trump this, I think it's very sad. And frankly, I think it's very sad.
I mean, he went on to say, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get ratings because you have to have people fight with me. But it wasn't limited to Trump. They also Dana Bash in particular tried to get people to fight with Marco Rubio. And there was some substantive back and forth between Rubio and Paul and Rubio and Cruz. And that was okay. Trump really is sort of masterful in this area, even though I'm not a terribly big fan of.
You know
Mr.
who was
Trump.
masterful with the words was Ted Cruz. I mean, he had the zinger of the night when he talked about, that wall that Donald Trump wants to build.
I tell you, if I'm elected president, we will secure the border. We will triple the Border Patrol. We will build a wall that works, and I'll get Donald Trump to pay for it.
I'll build it.
Some levity. That was fine.
It was good.
It was funny.
It was funny. Holly and Hudson, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, I thought the debate was very interesting, but I was watching it with my 14-year-old daughter, and I was interested in seeing the before, the pregame, and then the postgame. And when Jeb Bush walked off the stage and they just happened to go to that shot where he's kind of walking around looking for somebody to talk to, my 14-year-old daughter says, "Oh, that poor guy."
Yeah, someone's got to be friends with him.
So who needs a hug?
Right, exactly.
It was kind of pathetic. I know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that?
Yes.
Did you catch that? But then before the debate, you watched Trump work that line, work that room. He almost, I know people in this country can't stand him, but he's able to penetrate these, and these people can't help but like him. And the final thing I want to say is that American people love people who are enthusiastic and want to do a job, and they can sniff out reticence. And that's what they've sniffed out with Jeb Bush. And they can tell Donald Trump wants to do this job. And there are a lot of people who want to hire him to do it.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Holly. I think that last point is a good one. I think that's pretty close to the mark. Vin in St. Charles.
What you saw between Jeb Bush and Donald Trump last night is the difference between the statist candidate, the guy that Mitch McConnell and John Boehner and the Republican candidate, and then Donald Trump, the guy that he's a real candidate. He's somebody for the American people and is going to do the right thing instead of worried about what the Republican Party line is going to be. And that's why Jeb Bush is at 3%.
Thanks for the call, Vin, and pretty good impersonation of Chris Christie, calling out the Senate. Carly Fiorina did that, too. The only thing with Chris Christie and his, as a formal federal prosecutor rap is...
He mentioned that 3 times, by the way.
Right. And these
he couldn't mention enough.
All these first-term senators never make an executive decision. That's fine. It's legitimate. Yeah. But they don't do anything. They just speechify. Well, then Chris Christie talked about how he used the Patriot Act to prosecute terrorists in New Jersey. Who authored and passed the Patriot Act? Chris Christie?
Chris Christie.
Or those senators? So, Chris Christie wears on me a little bit, too.
Boasting about his executive experience, but he did make a quick funny, may I?
Listen, I want to talk to the audience at home for a second. If your eyes are glazed over like mine, this is what it's like to be on the floor of the United States Senate. I mean, endless debates about how many angels on the head of a pin from people who've never had to make a consequential decision.
Yeah, that was his big moment that some people are talking about this morning.
I'm not impressed.
Not impressed with Chris. I'm still undecided. That
Chris Christie's
debate
really
did nothing for me.
Chris Christie really wearing on me. Although he did resist the temptation of taking the Rand Paul bait when Rand Paul made a little Bridgegate reference. That was kind of a fun moment. Ooh,
I gotcha.
Greg and Schaumburg.
Morning, guys. 2 points. The nail in Jeb Bush's campaign was that comment that you played at the top of the hour. That's devastating to him, and it will be the end. But here's my larger point. The most important thing that I saw on that stage last night was the handshake between Trump and Cruz at the very end. Yeah. And what I hope America is starting to get the thing down is with anything that you say about Trump, and there's many things that are negative, he was absolutely the clearest person addressing the sentiment of American fear, which is very real within a government bureaucracy which seemingly is tone deaf to it from both the Republicans and both the Democratic sides. He gets it.
Thanks for the call, Greg. I think that's really a good point, and it needs to be emphasized. Trump may not have the specifics. He may not have the detailed plan, but he gets the sentiment in a way that really no other candidate does. I think that's an important point.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, it's coming. We're going to have a morning shower roll through here. Otherwise, it's going to be mostly cloudy, breezy, but still mild for this time of year, a high of 52 degrees. But tomorrow, reality sets in. It is mid-December. Christmas is around the corner. Tomorrow's going to be cloudy, breezy, colder, highs in the mid-30s. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Eden's inbound stop and go Church to Oakton and outbound Toohey to Oakton, where there's a crash. IDOT's responding there. About 25 minutes. Lakehook to Montrose, outbound 23. Kennedy is 23 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 22. The Eisenhower, now 35 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 30. Stevenson, 42 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. It's fine outbound. Ryan, 23 minutes. 95 to downtown. I-57, 21 minutes. I-80 to the Merge. Bishop Ford, 25. Northbound Tri-State, it's slow. Harlem to 87. And from the Stevenson to Ogden, where there's a crash in the left lane. Also heavy at 290. Other tollways are good. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center. If you like what we do here on this show, then check out upstream-ideas.com for original premium content. Each week you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, this week featuring Congressman Peter Roskam. That's our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. You can also go to upstream-ideas.com now to check out a commentary I did on why Republicans should lead the Rahm recall. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Our event is going well. I just wish they wouldn't have used the plastic tablecloths.
The food looks like it's been under the heat lamp for an hour.
I can't believe they didn't have room to seat the accounting department at the last minute.
When you plan a corporate event, wedding, or social gathering, you have that picture-perfect image in your head of what it's supposed to look like. At Belvedere Banquets, they bring the shining elegance you expect to see downtown right to the suburbs. From their photogenic lobby fountain to their 5-star quality food options, Belvedere Banquets has your next big event covered in shimmering excellence. They can even bring their top-notch catering right to you. It's time to host an event that leaves everyone in awe at a price that can accommodate budgets for groups of 12 to 1,000. Call 847-534-0600 or visit their beautiful website at belvederebanquets.com. Get the positive event planning experience you deserve for your next occasion. 847-534-0600 or belvederebanquets.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Come on, make harmony.
You could make harmony?
Make harmony. Yes.
Yeah.
Come on. You know who spoke the most last night at the debate? Not Chris Christie, not Carly Fiorina or John Kasich.
Marco Rubio.
No, Senator Ted Cruz was in the lead. 17 minutes of airtime he received. In second place was Donald Trump and then Marco Rubio.
Interesting.
But you know who Ben Carson, who I think is on his way out, he should really give back those Secret Service agents because I don't think he's going to need them anymore.
Well, I don't know. I mean...
Too soon, too cruel, but I mean, he's a victim of circumstance. Look, he was, high up in the polls, and then terrorist attacks happened in Paris. One happened here at home, and I believe from what I heard from one supporter is that they don't trust him on national security. And I think a lot of other Americans are feeling the same way, and he's sliding right off the stage.
Well,
he did not do well last night.
I disagree about him doing well. I thought that was his best performance in terms of substance,
Really?
in terms of substantive answers on national security related matters. He clearly has done a lot of homework in addition to traveling to Syria to visit the refugee camps, to talk to Syrian refugees directly. I thought that was a really interesting answer he gave. He's offered versions of that before. But I thought he offered specific knowledge. Clearly, he was doing his homework. I thought he had thoughtful answers on a range of topics, not every single one, but I thought he actually held his own on that stage in an arena that he clearly is still learning. But frankly, he's not the only one on that stage that's still learning. And frankly, even the people that have been in the Senate or people that have been former federal prosecutors like Chris Christie, nobody's cornered the market on all the knowledge with respect to ISIS. Because if somebody had, I think we'd be doing a lot better against ISIS than we have to this point. Yeah, President Obama is a feckless weakling, as Chris Christie called him. I agree with that. I even agree with what Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters said about President Obama, more to the point. But Congress hasn't gotten this right all the way through. Republicans haven't gotten this right all the way through, too. The question is, can you adjust and make intelligent decisions based on information you have at the time to effectively provide for national security, to effectively dismantle ISIS? And those were some of the more interesting debates on metadata, on immigration, on visas. And
that was all Cruz and Rubio.
And protocol. That's right. And that's what the debate really turned out to be, wasn't it? The Cruz-Rubio rivalry. But the problem that Cruz and Rubio have is that if Donald Trump continues to stay where he is, with everybody, including me, who said low ceiling, high floor, well, that ceiling continues to creep up.
Starting to sink in, isn't it?
Well, it continues to creep up. And if he stays at 35 to 40, he's going to be a difficult out. Let's go to Derek in Lombard.
Morning.
Morning.
This is actually Garrett.
Garrett. Sorry. Garrett.
Not a problem. No problem. It sounds very similar. Here's my really quick point. As a former Green Beret, when I was listening last night to the majority of the male candidates, and they talked about confronting, much less totally engaging ISIS, I was a little disappointed. However, when I did hear Carly Fiorina, one of the brief times that she was actually on, she talked about what we really need to do is to recall men like Petraeus, McChrystal.
Right, the warrior class.
They know how to do it and when to do it. And frankly, Dan and Amy, I was very much reminded of Golda Meir and her attitude toward her main general, Bushy Diane.
Yeah.
We all know how that came out, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Thanks for the call, Garrett. Interesting comparison. Steve on the south side. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Dan. Hey, love the show. I want to tell Amy, I thought Ben Carson did fine yesterday. I don't know why she keeps bashing him. I'm a big Ted Cruz guy. Ted Cruz is number one for me, but I really don't think Carson did bad at all yesterday. I thought he was very coherent, and I don't know. I felt he answered everything competently.
Yeah.
When
call,
Hugh
Steve.
Hewitt asked him if he could wage war as commander-in-chief, and, war is tough. There's casualties, and innocent children get killed. He gave such a strange answer and started talking about when he performed surgeries on children, and he looks in their eyes before going into the operating room.
Yeah.
It wasn't really what I was looking for. It was,
Ultimately, though, he turned that question on Hugh Hewitt.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you been getting the runaround on a mortgage modification application underwater with your mortgage? Well, you'd be not alone. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of other people in the same boat with you. My name's Lou Bridges. My partner Scott Owen and I put together a law firm. One of the things we do is help people with modifications, only we don't just submit an application. Through proprietary software that we have access to, we determine what program or programs your loan is eligible for and what it would take to qualify you for those programs under the regulations. We work with our team of people, paralegals and clerks, and we put together everything, and then we submit the application for modification to the servicing bank. Only then we're not asking them, we're telling them this is the modification program our client has chosen from among those that we have confirmed they qualify for, their loan is eligible for under the regulations that you will give. And you must give because the net present value is far greater for the owner of the mortgage. So servicer, thank you for the modification. No more runarounds. Give us a call. We'll give you a free consultation.
224-513-1231.
Hey guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Well, you can, and it's simple and easy with the gift of the world's softest pajamas, available exclusively at pajamagram.com. That's pajamagram.com, created by a team of dedicated pajama experts. The world's softest pajamas are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. Talk about dreamy. She'll love the way the world's softest pajamas feel, and you'll love the way they caress her every curve. It's more than a gift. They're a feeling, an invitation to linger just a little bit longer. The world's softest pajamas are available only at pajamagram.com. And you don't have to wrap because every pajamagram includes free gift packaging. And right now, if you are caller number five, you will win a $100 gift certificate to pajamagram.com. Call this number, 312-642-5600. Caller number 5 wins a $100 gift certificate to pajamagram.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Are school choice proponents like gangbanging murderers? We'll ask Jesse Sharkey, the vice president of the Chicago Teachers Union, at 6:36.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, officials say survived the crash of a medical helicopter about 55 miles south and east of Phoenix. The chopper went down in rugged terrain. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump standing behind his call for banning Muslims entering the United States at last night's GOP debate in Las Vegas, heard only here on AM 560 WIND on the radio. He says we're talking about security, not religion.
A month ago, things changed. Radical Islamic terrorism came into effect even more so than it has been in the past. People like what I say, people respect what I say, and we've opened up a very big discussion.
Meantime, Senators Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio clashed over national security and immigration at last night's debate in Las Vegas.
And what the USA Freedom Act did is it did two things. Number one, it ended the federal government's bulk collection of phone metadata of millions of law-abiding citizens. But number two, and the second half of it that is critical, it strengthened the tools of national security and law enforcement.
Rubio then went after Cruz for voting against troop funding.
3 times he voted against the Defense Authorization Act, which is a bill that funds the troops. It also, by the way, funds the Iron Dome and other important programs. And I have to assume that if you vote against it in the Senate, you would also veto it as president.
Democrats expect to debate Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pakistan has closed schools across that country for the day today on the anniversary of last year's Taliban attack that killed 144 of them school children. Los Angeles schools are in session today after being closed because of a threat now believed to be a hoax. Major winter storms spreading havoc across the northern plains and upper Midwest, The blizzard already dumped 2 feet of snow over portions of the Rockies, 8 inches in Denver.
I thought it was going to be pretty light, but it's not. We get a lot of pedestrians on the street. It's really cool.
Bruce Morgan digging out this morning. 400 flights canceled at Denver International Airport. A Baltimore jury has been told by a judge to keep trying to reach a verdict in the manslaughter trial of police officer William Porter. Funeral services will be held this week for a Chicago firefighter who died falling down an elevator shaft, battling a warehouse fire. Visitation for 42-year-old Daniel Capuano is Thursday afternoon at St. Rita High School in the chapel. And there are more protests against police abuse surfacing in Chicago. 16 were arrested last night. They blocked a busy downtown intersection. There were also calls for Mayor Rahm Emanuel to step down. Chicago sports. Last night, Colorado bested the Blackhawks 3-0. Big Ten news, Wisconsin basketball coach Bo Ryan announces his retirement effective immediately. The news service of the Foundation for a Better Life. When Marlon Shirley was 5, he lost his foot. Today, the world's fastest amputee runs the 100 meters in less time than it takes to listen to this. Overcoming Pass It On from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. And a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
I'm amazed. I want to say thank you to Balance of Nature. You guys are awesome. God bless you. The reason I have so much enthusiasm is because I speak as a person who has investigated the things that are out there. What I see is that there's many, many people telling the same story, and it's ruining it for the people who really are true. You know, up until this point, I had a lot of doubt whether, you know, I have an instinct that there should be something you can spend some money on and get something good, and I hadn't found it, and I believe I have found it this time. So, again, awesome, and thank you.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
There's nothing better than turning up the music of Old Blue Eyes and letting the hits of one of the best crooners in history bounce off the walls. And Austin's Fuel Room in Libertyville is going to host the party. Sunday, December 20th, get to Austin's Fuel Room in Libertyville for the Ron Hawking Christmas Show and celebrate Frank's 100th birthday. See this amazing singer and impressionist while you swing through musical highlights of a man once dubbed the most popular entertainer of the 20th century. And if that isn't enough, Rat Pack flashbacks will accent this amazing festivity. Tickets for the Ron Hawking Christmas Show and anniversary celebration start at $35, and you can also go VIP Frank style for $75. So book your Sunday night 6:30 on December 20th at Austin's Fuel Room in Libertyville. Call 847-549-1972 for tickets or visit fuelroom.com. That's 847-549-1972 or fuelroom.com.
In our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, here's Jim Telemonte.
Like the inbound Edens has heavy delays from Old Orchard to the junction. 34 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy is 31 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. The Eisenhower, 45 minutes Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 35. The Stevenson now 51 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive and 37 from the Tri-State. The Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State stop and go from the Stevenson to Ogden with a crash in the left lane. Traffic Service of Illinois Partners for Clean Air. With so much going on in and around the city, imagine going in on public transit. You'll save time, save money, and reduce air pollution. Learn to breathe easy and save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air at cleantheair.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. A passing morning shower or two. Cloudy, breezy, a little warmer, high 52. 38 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by attorney John DeWatt, finding you a resolution to your financial problems at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now, and make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Amy, I don't know if you... you did see. You mentioned it before. This is rather entertaining, though. Craigslist.
Oh, yeah.
An ad appeared on Monday in the housing section of Chicago Craigslist offering up a, quote, beautiful fifth-floor office at 121 North LaSalle. The prestigious office was formerly occupied by Harold Washington and both Richard Daley Sr. and Jr. The current tenant is in between jobs and preparing to vacate before the new year.
Oh.
If only that were true, but very, very funny.
He is escaping to Cuba, though. He's leaving Saturday, but you didn't hear that from me. You didn't hear it from me.
That was a private conversation between friends. You better call Amy Rule.
This conversation?
We were saying backstage that you want to come back as an Emanuel child. You're to take your young people on fascinating trips around the world, headed these holidays to Cuba. Why?
Well, first of all, thanks for telling everybody what I'm going to do with my family.
Thanks a lot.
You had a private conversation with me, and now you decided to make that public. I really don't appreciate that. Number one, I really don't. That's my family.
That wasn't
No. You asked me, what are you going to do this year? So I'm expressing to you now publicly my displeasure. My family's trips are my family.
Your displeasure is duly noted, and I don't give a rat's.
I can rub people the wrong way.
It's true.
But he
wasn't wearing the V-neck sweater. That was it. That's where you get calm.
The warm fuzzy.
Yeah. By the way, more action. We're going to talk to Greg Livingston. He's a pastor in the city that we've spoken to before. They're having a press conference this morning launching their quote-unquote Black Christmas campaign. And it's essentially to put every elected official on the dime to say, are you going to sign on to LaShawn Ford's legislation, State Representative LaShawn Ford from the West Side, his legislation to recall Rahm Emanuel, to really provide a mechanism for recall of the mayor of Chicago and aldermen. But, of course, this is about Rahm Emanuel. Are you going to sign on, or are you going to continue to cower in fear and make this a litmus test question with the March primary looming and a lot of careers on the line? So we're going to talk to him about that. Very interesting. Also, the idea that this is going to dissipate over the holidays and, okay, people had their little protests and now this is over with Rahm.
They haven't protested in 2 days.
Nothing is over.
Until we say it's over.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? No, of course not. Here's also in the Sun-Times, chairman of the city council's Hispanic caucus, Alderman George Cardenas, demanded Tuesday that Mayor Rahm Emanuel's administration initiate settlement talks with the family of Emmanuel Lopez, a 23-year-old man shot to death by Chicago police officers 10 years ago, 2005.
Didn't the statute of limitations run out 10 years ago?
No.
And there's also
you have to remember, you don't need to file a lawsuit to get a windfall from the city of Chicago.
Oh, that's right. You just need to send a demand letter.
You just need to show up to City Hall and say, I want to see the video or I want to see what evidence you have. And then they start writing big checks, seven-figure checks. That's what happened in the Laquan McDonald case, of course. Very interesting. But remember what's happening now. And this is why this isn't going to go away. And I'm not suggesting that of the 400 police-involved shootings that have been reviewed by the Independent Review Authority,
only 2 have come down out of 400.
Right. And so now that this is going on and you're re-examining all these cases, it's very much like Burge. And again, I'm not suggesting that all or even most, probably a small fraction or even questionable calls. But you're going to go back and look at this all. And if you have more cases start to pile up, you had Philip Coleman, a federal district court judge, already ruled in the Philip Coleman case. This is the case of the individual tased, dragged unconscious from a prison cell, said the police use excessive force. That's in a civil matter. You've got Laquan McDonald prosecution of Van Dyke going on. You were not going to see that trial for a year. You've got a lot of moving parts here. This is not going to go away anytime soon, nor should it. And so I'll renew my call in advance of our conversation with Gregory Livingston. Every Republican in the General Assembly to sign on as a co-sponsor of LaShawn Ford's bill. Jeannie Ives has. In the Senate, State Senator Tony Munoz has picked up the bill as the lead sponsor in the Senate. And Tim Bivens, who's a Republican from Northwest Illinois, has signed on as a co-sponsor. Where are the rest of them? Where are the rest of the Republicans to take advantage of this opportunity to do the right thing, number one, and two, to send a message while Black caucus members, Latino caucus members, all the Democrats who kneel at the altar of the Chicago Democrat power structure, while they're dithering because they don't know what to do, because they haven't been given the high sign by Madigan or Cullerton because they're afraid of Rahm Emanuel still, or they just want to be cashed out like George Cardenas. While they're dithering, this is an opportunity for Republicans to intercede and send a message to minority families, in particular in Chicago. We'll stand up with you against injustice. We'll recall Rahm.
Well, a Republican state lawmaker that I spoke with said they thought that this was just going to go away. And they said Mike Madigan's never going to sign on to it, so why bother?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you talked to Ron Sandak, but that's not compelling.
No, I talked to other people.
Yeah. That is a rationalization for capitulation. Why, you never know what can happen with public pressure. Sometimes when enough public pressure is brought to bear, things once thought unimaginable come to pass.
Another Republican state lawmaker I spoke with, who's on the Senate side, said, well, I'm out of town. I'm not going to come back in.
Oh, yeah. No.
They already started their Christmas vacation. I'm just telling you what they said because I was fishing out there for answers.
All you have to do, tell them to put me on as a co-sponsor, LaShawn Ford. These are all...
That's all you have to do?
These are all rationalizations. These are all manifestations of cowardice. And Republicans are also talking about, I've heard this yesterday, we're going to introduce our own recall legislation. We'll do one generally for at the state level, and we'll do another one, generally for municipal officials. No.
Isn't there already one at the state level for the governor and state reps and state senators?
Yes, but that's a secondary point. The main point is, who the hell are you? You're super minority. You can hold your caucus meetings in a telephone booth if they still existed. LaShawn Ford can provide leadership here. LaShawn Ford has a vehicle. So if LaShawn Ford and others, Mary Flowers, want to take up some ideas the Republicans have, fine. LaShawn Ford, African-American West Side legislator, that's where the leadership needs to come from. And this is all about Rahm Emanuel. So stop pretending some of these Republicans you're talking about, and these are excuses I've heard before, ninnies. Stop pretending that you can do anything about this other than fall in with Ford and Flowers and Greg Livingston and the grassroots that's trying to move on Rahm. And demand Madigan, Cullerton, Governor Rauner, put them on the dime. If it's good enough for the governor, if it's good enough to have a recall for the governor, why should the Chicago mayor be exempted? Specifically, Tiny Dancer, but generally on a go-forward basis. There is no good explanation for Republicans, and I'm just going to stick with Republicans. Democrats have their own problems, and I've already described.
Some Democrats have stepped up to the plate. Tony Munoz, and a few, but at least
very
they have.
Few. Yeah, very few. About as many Republicans. That's not very many. So what I'm suggesting is the bad news about Springfield is most of them are cowards. The good news about Springfield is most of them are cowards. They will respond to public pressure because they are most interested in their career above everything else. So call Jim Durkin, the House Superminority Leader. Call Christine Radonio's office, the Senate Superminority Leader. Call your local legislators and tell them that their decision to sign on or not sign on and to make a frackin' effort on something for a change is the decision by which you will decide whether or not they should be replaced. That's the thing they really respond to. And that's the opportunity here. I want to hear somebody give me an explanation about why Rahm shouldn't be put to a market test. Somebody with 14% approval rating who's clearly been part of covering up and trying to block information that is public from becoming public for political reasons.
Yeah, and also they're still trying to block 3 other videos that are coming to the forefront right now, and it's just amazing. They won't release the videos.
Why should he not be put to a market test? I want to hear the substantive pushback to putting him to a recall election.
oh, well, we don't know what we're going to get. Yeah, we do know what we're going to get. We're going to get a new day in Chicago. Ron on the south side.
Hey, good morning. And in addition to that, Dan and Amy, here's what I want to see. Because, see, we wouldn't even be in this situation right now. I want to give 4 names who need to be on the street really passing out, getting those petition signed. Let me give you 4 names of so-called nationalists, but I call them scumbags who just took, I guess, some chump change. Bobby Rush, former Alderman scumbag Dorothy Tillman, a gentleman, so-called nationalist Conrad World, another scumbag, and a guy named Eddie Reed that used to do some work with former Lou Palmer. But those 4 people endorsed Rahm for some silly reasons, and now you know what? They're somewhere hiding. But that's what I want.
Well,
those 4 to pass out the petitions and actually apologize. So, and lastly, Dan, try to talk to Republicans. See, people constantly say, well, you know, African Americans just they continue to vote for Democrats, and that's it. You know, give people a choice sometime, okay? Stand up sometime. At least show the African American community. Give us a reason, okay?
Amen, Ron. Thanks for the call.
Have a good day.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Rain in the area right now, and otherwise by this afternoon, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies. It will be breezy, mild, a high of 52 degrees. Then tonight, the cold kicks in. It's going to be 30 degrees for a low, and tomorrow we're going to have cloudy conditions, breezy, and a high in the mid-30s. Let's get the travel times. How's the inbound Kennedy shaping up, Jim?
Well, Amy, it's no fun at all. Traffic's kind of fit for scumbags, too, this morning. It's 40 minutes already from O'Hare to downtown, thanks in part to that rain. The express lanes only save you 3 or 4 minutes. Outbound, 31 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Eden's jammed up from Dempster to the Junction. It's 35 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 23, the Eisenhower. 50 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 35, the Stevenson. 58 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, and 43 from the Tri-State. Outbound, there's a 4-minute delay, California to Cicero. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, really messy from 111th to Ogden, where a crash just moved to the left shoulder. The other tollways have just mild delays. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Investors reacting to economic reports and corporate developments ahead of the Federal Reserve's announcement on interest rates today. Those stories next.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-642-9531. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-642-9531 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-642-9531 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-642-9531.
We'll see whether Wall Street investors push stocks higher for a third straight session. Investors watching the Federal Reserve, with most of them expecting the central bank to announce an interest rate hike, which would be for the first time in 9.5 years. Investors will have a lot to consider ahead of the Fed announcement, including the latest reports on housing starts, industrial production, and manufacturing. The crude oil market remains in focus, prices rallying nearly 5% over the past 2 days. January crude trading near $37 a barrel, ahead of the Energy Department report on crude oil inventories. And watch the shares of FedEx and Oracle, both companies out with their earnings after the closing bell. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
So, I'm retiring today.
Freedom!
I hate goodbyes, so I've hired singers to follow me around and bid my coworkers farewell.
It's John's last day.
Okay, let's get started. Here's Tom.
Your pranks were amazing, despite what HR says.
Next, Susan.
Your homemade cookies blew his mind and diet.
Finally, Dave.
You never judged him for his popcorn burning.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys.
Ready to give your swan song at work? The Mutual Fund Store can help. We'll sit down with you one-on-one to talk about your goals. Then we'll put a plan in place to help get you on track. Finally, we'll keep a close eye on your account to make sure you stay on track. Discover how within reach your retirement could be for you with a free portfolio review and consultation.
Hi, I'm Matt Personette with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
Hey guys, Dan Proft here. The holidays are now upon us. Do you want the gift that keeps on giving? How about giving yourself a healthier life and more energy to do the things you want to do with family and friends? If you've been feeling like a grumpy old man lately, it's time to get your testosterone level checked at Low T Center. I did. It's quick, easy, and with their on-site lab, you know your results in minutes. Plus, their services are covered by most health insurance. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. Low T Center even has convenient and flexible hours. So give yourself the gift that keeps on giving this December. Call Low T Center now and tell them Dan Proft sent you. Call today, 630-409-4305. That number again, 630-409-4305, or visit them online at lowtcenter.com.
It's easy to take your commercial HVAC system for granted. It's always there, keeping your building comfortably warm or cool. Until you have a system failure. With another unforgiving Chicago winter just around the corner, now's the time to have a comprehensive review of your mechanical HVAC system. And you don't want just anyone. You want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For over 80 years, Air Comfort has delivered its customers the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as Star Certified by the MSCA, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com.
Hey, if your company manufactures or markets pharmaceuticals, biologics, medical devices, or APIs, you know the challenges of systems integration, FDA compliance, and staffing. To gain access to Chicagoland's top life sciences engineering, quality assurance, project management, regulatory, software, and validation professionals, you need the experts at Automated Systems, Inc. All of ASI's resources are degreed professionals with decades of industry experience in manufacturing, automation, and FDA compliance. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life science companies to successful startups. For over a quarter of a century, ASI has excelled through a culture of execution and client success. For information about staffing or a no-obligation compliance or automation evaluation, call Laz at Automated Systems toll-free at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit automatedsys.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Christmas is coming fast. Last-minute gifts are hard to find. So, guys, here it is. Put your love in a locket with Heartstrings customized lockets. It's super cool, a glass locket that opens to charms inside. Birthstones, initials, hobbies, sports. It's completely up to you. I've got birthstones in mind for my kids and a little microphone for the radio. It's something unique that captures her story in a locket. It's a home run Christmas gift, or ladies, make one for yourself. Choose from over 900 unique charms. Go to one of 4 Heartstrings kiosks at Orland Square Mall and Yorktown Center, Lower Level Center Court, or Gurney Mills and Fox Valley Mall near Macy's. A locket specialist will be right there with you every step of the way. A heartstring customized locket. She wants it. Get it for her. Find them at Orland Square Mall, Yorktown Center, Fox Valley, or Gurney Mills, or online at yourheartstring.com. That's YOUR heartstring.com. Mention the promo code Amy and get a free charm. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Do you ever think, do you think that Trump ever heard the phrase nuclear triad before last night's debate and had any idea what it was? We'll put that question to Jonah Goldberg from National Review Online and discuss the debate with our friend Jonah at 7:07.
And later at 7:37, our good friend Stephen Moore will be here. All eyes are on the Federal Reserve today. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching right now. Funeral arrangements are set for a firefighter from Chicago who fell down an elevator shaft this week. Chicago aldermen are now holding hearings on the police shooting of a teen and protests against police-involved shootings blocked traffic overnight. A high school teacher charged with sexually assaulting a student, and Michael Jordan picks charities for funds from his legal tiff. Complete look at weather after Fox News, WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He was back in prime time after surging in the New Hampshire polls.
When we get back in the White House, we will fight terrorists and win again, and America will be safe.
Chris Christie also called President Obama a feckless weakling in last night's presidential debate where Donald Trump was again center stage. Fox's Jared Halpern was there, now live in Las Vegas.
Donald Trump tried to again put the issue of an independent run to bed, asked if he's committed to remaining a Republican throughout.
I really am. I'll be honest. I really am. I mean, people have been putting me to tracks. I really am.
But he was tested at the CNN debate on Salem Radio by former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, accusing the mogul of being a chaos candidate.
Look, the simple fact is, if you think this is tough and you're not being treated fairly,
this isn't tough and easy.
Imagine what it's going to be like dealing with
always
or
as
dealing
easy
with
as you,
President
Jeff.
Xi.
First-term senators Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, and Ted Cruz, meantime, showcased a serious policy divide over NSA data collection, U.S. military intervention, and immigration reform. Dave.
Jared, we're just learning of a terror bust in Austria. 2 men arrested and being investigated for possibly being connected to the Paris attacks. This as Defense Secretary Ash Carter goes to Iraq to talk to U.S. and Iraqi commanders about the fight against ISIS. Also in Iraq, Reuters reports a group of gunmen driving a convoy of trucks kidnapped at least 26 people from Qatar from a hunting camp. A jury that says it's deadlocked will again talk it out again today at the trial of the first of 6 Baltimore cops charged in Freddie Gray's death.
They're trying to decide whether Officer William Porter is guilty of manslaughter and misconduct. Baltimore is on edge as the city awaits. Police from around the region are staged in riot gear. Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings, who represents Baltimore, appealing to the city for calm.
The future of our community will not be defined at the moment of the verdict, but it will be defined in the days and years that follow.
An emergency operations center is open, and police are working 12-hour shifts.
That's Fox's Rachel Sutherland. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This morning, a rain shower and 38 degrees. 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Funeral services are set for a McHenry soldier killed in a chopper crash at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Visitation scheduled for Friday at the Justin Funeral Home. Chief Warrant Officer Kevin Weiss's funeral is set for Saturday morning. Funeral services will be held this week for a Chicago firefighter who died after falling down an elevator shaft while battling a warehouse fire. Visitation for 42-year-old Daniel Capuano is Thursday afternoon at the St. Rita High School chapel. After a full day of testimony, Chicago aldermen were left with more questions than answers about police accountability. AM 560's David Stewart monitored yesterday's hearings.
The new head of the agency that investigates police misconduct frustrated aldermen because she lacked details on ongoing cases and practices.
I actually will be looking at the process to make sure that it is as robust as it should be.
Lori Lightfoot of Mayor Emanuel's new police task force promised to cast a wide net,
so that we get as comprehensive a set of feedback from as many stakeholders across our city.
Aldermen did succeed in demonstrating their concern, but the hearing didn't produce anything concrete. David Stewart, Chicago.
Bulls legend Michael Jordan setting his picks for charity donations. Jordan naming the 23 charitable organizations that will share the money, recently awarded in a legal battle with Jewel Osco and the former Dominick grocery chain. The charities Jordan named support health and education and well-being of Chicago area kids. And it was pretty cool to see a lineup of Cuban-born baseball stars, including some of the most famous defectors in recent memory, made a triumphant return to the island as part of Major League Baseball's trip into Cuba. The first since 1999. Jose Abreu of the White Sox was swarmed by fans and members of the media in Cuba in the lobby of Havana's soaring Hotel Nacional. Start of a 3-day mission by Abreu and others meant to warm relations between baseball and Cuba. Chicago sports, Colorado beat the Blackhawks 3-0, and Patrick Kane's point streak was stopped at 26 games. Last night, Northwestern beat Mississippi Valley State. And last night in the Big Ten, Wisconsin coach Bo Ryan announced that he is retiring effective immediately. The news, a service of Massage Envy. Massage Envy can help you manage the side effects of this wonderful thing we call living. Give the gift of total body care. Get a free massage or facial service with a minimum gift card purchase. Not valid online. See clinic for details. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson & Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson & Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson & Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson & Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
Do you have a retirement account? Is it likely to go up 60% or down 60%? Wake up. Low interest rates support the market, and it won't last forever. It's time to hedge with solid gold. You will regret not doing so in the next market crash. Do it right. Don't pay a setup and storage fee. Discover how. Call Goldworth. Request the IRA guide free. Call 800-257-GOLD. 800-257-GOLD. Visit goldworth.com.
I had fantastic results with the Andro 400 Max. Probably lost 35 pounds, and more impressive than that was the inches I lost off of my belly and my waist. And the increased energy is fantastic.
Andro 400 Max, the best all-natural testosterone booster. Gain energy, lose belly fat. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
7:06 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's northwest side, a report of a person hit by a car, Armitage at Kedzie. Eden's inbound delays start around Dempster. 35 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 26. The Kennedy, 50 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 23 from Montrose, and 18 in the Express. Outbound 40 minutes downtown to the airport. About Eisenhower, 53 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 37. Stevenson now an hour and 4 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, 47 minutes from the Tri-State, outbound 38 minutes to 3:55. Ryan is 23 minutes, 95 to downtown. Bishop Ford, 38 minutes, 80-94 to the Ryan. Northbound Tri-State jammed 111th to Ogden with a crash on the left shoulder. Adams Tollway still Roselle to 53, and from the Des Plaines Oasis to Lee, Veterans Memorial is though 75th to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, a passing shower or two for the morning, otherwise mainly cloudy and breezy with a high 50. A rather cloudy night tonight with a low 30. Then tomorrow, cloudy, breezy, and colder, high 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
38 at O'Hare, 43 along the lake. Some light rain showers falling, and your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the New American Funding Show, walking you through stress-free mortgage options. Sunday afternoons at 1 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
The new ABC News Washington Post poll showing Trump with 38% nationwide. Another poll has him at 41%. The poll's taken after his proposed ban on Muslims coming to America. Next to him tonight, Ted Cruz for the first time, now neck and neck with Trump in Iowa.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
They can kill us, but we can't kill them. That's what you're saying.
If you want something talked about, ask a man
if you want something done, ask a woman.
That for Marco to suggest our record's the same, it is like suggesting the fireman and the arsonist have the same record because they're both at the scene of the fire.
Are you ready to reassure Republicans tonight that you will run as a Republican and abide by the decision of the Republicans?
I really am.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, in Oracle of Delphi-like fashion, I predicted what came to pass yesterday, that despite all of the Washington press corps hype trying to make this like a Vegas prize fight, the sparring between Trump and Cruz wouldn't happen, and it didn't happen. I mean, they were almost making out by the end of the debate.
But enough about me. What do you think of me?
But however,
Really?
but that doesn't mean there wasn't sparring, and it started off where you expected it to start off, which is Trump defending his call for a ban on Muslims to be allowed to emigrate to these United States.
A month ago, things changed. Radical Islamic terrorism came into effect even more so than it has been in the past. People like what I say, people respect what I say, and we've opened up a very big discussion that needed to be opened up.
Well, do you agree with that? Let's get some expert insight from our friend Jonah Goldberg, National Review Online. Jonah, thanks for joining us. Some great news. Donald Trump is staying in the Republican Party. That has to have you excited.
All of my prayers have been answered.
So what did you think of Trump's performance, not just in terms of defending his controversial ban Muslims policy, but more generally, including his dissertation on the nuclear triad?
Well, I thought he had sort of the best of nights and the worst of nights. I thought some of his answers came across as polished and thoughtful, grading on a curve, I'll stipulate, but thoughtful. And serious, and then some others of them seemed, to me, just mortifyingly, embarrassingly bad. And I think we're at the point now, though, that a lot of people see the person that they want to see, and they edit out the stuff that they don't want to notice. I thought his answer on the nuclear triad was kind of funny, because first of all, the nuclear triad is an obsession of Hugh Hewitt's, who's a friend and a great guy, but he asks people about that all the time. He asked Donald Trump about the nuclear triad in August. You can find the transcript on the web, and Trump made it very clear that he didn't know what the nuclear triad was back then,
and still doesn't.
And a normal politician, first of all, and this time, Hugh was like sort of trying to get a squirrel to eat out of his hand. He just kept, he basically explained what the nuclear triad was in the question, and Trump would hear none of it. He was scared of it, and he just answered some other, nuclear bombs are scary kind of thing, and just sort of trailed off like a Alzheimer's patient walking into the snow, and
without shoes. Yes.
Yeah, and in his misbuttoned jammies, and so it was very strange. And I thought his bullying nonsense with Jeb was really kind of pathetic. I mean, it's the kind of thing that if your plumber or your coworker or your friend at church or synagogue or a parent at school talked the way Donald Trump did with Jeb last night. Oh yeah, you're tough. Look at me, I'm doing great. That kind of thing is just, I personally find it pathetic, but other people think it's awesome because it's entertaining or it's macho or something like that. So I thought it was a mixed bag for him. My only quibble with you guys is that his initial talk about ban, as you put it, Dan, was a ban on Muslim immigration to here. His original statement was a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the country. Right. And it was only after a lot of people said, "Are you high? Are you banning, American Muslims from coming into the country? What about American, Muslim servicemen? What about, tourists from Canada, and all of a sudden he started walking back, revising and changing his quote unquote plan. And it was never a plan. It was a hastily crafted Hail Mary totally irresponsible press release that he read to get attention back because too many people were talking about Barack Obama's failed Oval Office address and Ted Cruz's good polls, and it worked.
So when Jeb Bush said you can't insult your way to the presidency, Donald Trump, he can insult his way to the White House, don't you think?
Barack Obama did.
I certainly think there's no reason to put too much faith in Jeb's confidence that you can't insult your way to the presidency because, I mean, he's insulted his way to a large extent to where he is right now, and it's working for him.
And frankly, I think Trump is smart to pick Jeb Bush as his combatant because Jeb Bush represents so many things that the kind of establishment, much less the base Trump vote, despises right now as compared to taking on Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz.
Yeah, look, this was one of these, it was almost like a really weird, passive-aggressive, wasp, nasty Thanksgiving dinner where no one is actually having the arguments that they want to have. They're all having arguments with the easier targets and trying to get into fights with their real enemies by extension. I mean, Trump doesn't need to attack Jeb anymore, but that's safe for him. Cruz and Trump are the ones who should be fighting, but they're not fighting because Cruz has brilliantly managed to sort of hold Trump in a clinch. Rubio's real enemy for this entire time has always been Jeb because Jeb is blocking his lane or was blocking his lane. And so it's all, and Jeb understands, remember, Jeb's people really want Rubio out of the way. And John Kasich moves his hands a lot when he talks.
Yes.
Yeah, he was doing the safety dance. Hey, Ben Carson, I was not impressed with his performance at all, but our buddy Hugh Hewitt's taking heat this morning for asking him, I thought, which was a great question, could you wage war as commander-in-chief?
Yeah, look, I think that's always a legitimate and fair question. I thought it was a tough way to, talking about, are you willing to kill a bunch of kids? Right. Given that, that's putting a pretty fine point on it. But yeah, no, I think that's fair. And I think the reason why, I don't think Hugh just goes around asking people, can they be kid killers? I think the reason why it makes sense for Carson is because Carson comes from, his background is all about saving the lives of children, and he's such a sweet and gentle guy with this sort of bedside manner composure. And so, I don't mean this to disparage, say, Ted Cruz, but no one really worries whether or not Ted has it in him.
True.
That kind of stuff. You worry about it with Carson.
I want to go back to something you said about Trump and talking about the ban on Muslims. He said it, then he starts to fill in the blanks after he gets pushback on it. It's kind of the same thing. There was this moment yesterday where they were talking, the question was asked about going after terrorists and then going after their family. And again, it was a statement that Trump had made previously at one of his signature rallies that was not specific. And he had an opportunity, again, to be precise, but it's almost precision doesn't really matter. So Trump essentially was saying yesterday when he was pressed on it, well, look, like in San Bernardino, the mom knew. What he's really talking about is not indiscriminate killing of anybody who's ever come into contact with a known terrorist. He's talking about people that are co-conspirators or have a material role in a terrorist attack. I think that's what he really means. But he's not precise with it. He doesn't really take opportunities to be precise, but he doesn't need to be precise.
Yeah, well, look, I agree with you to a certain extent. He has this studied ambiguity, right, where he'll say something that sounds – it's almost like the way Yasser Arafat would say one thing in English and another thing in Arabic. He says stuff that is diversely interpretable to different people, but he knows that it sounds outlandish and crazy and sometimes bigoted to most sort of normal people. But there's also this escape hatch in it that lets people sort of interpret it the way they want. So, 12 hours later, I criticized him for his answer last night on Twitter, about this targeting families stuff, because the initial way he made it sound and the way the question was asked, it made it sound like we should be killing the families of terrorists. And he had an opportunity to clarify and say, well, that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what Dan Proft is talking about. I'm talking about, prosecuting the families and, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
He doesn't take that opportunity.
Right.
And he does this time and time again. It's like, and the problem is what he does is he empowers a lot of his supporters to define what Trump's position is on the most reasonable grounds possible, even though Trump has never said anything to lend credence to the idea that his position is the reasonable one. You know, when he says we're gonna ban all Muslims, within 24 hours, it becomes, oh, well, we have to have a serious review of the visa waiver program. Well, that's not what the guy said. Mm-hmm. What the guy said is we're going to have a total shutdown of Muslims entering this country. You know, Donald Trump says we're going to go after the families of terrorists. And he even said in his answer last night, they can kill us, but we can't kill them.
Right.
You know, which makes it sound like he's saying, yeah, we're going to kill the families of terrorists, which is a violation of the Geneva Convention. And I'm not talking about collateral damage when you bomb someone's home. I'm talking about after the fact, hunting down their families and killing them. He has let people think that's what he says his position is. That is an outrageous position. I mean, it is a position that will get us, that is a complete violation of the Geneva Convention. And I'm not a huge fan of the Geneva Convention, but we know that whenever we get crosswise about the Geneva Convention, it creates all sorts of diplomatic problems with us here and abroad. And this idea that somehow he has any clue what these sorts of issues are, it just strikes me as absurd. He goes around vomiting up these fun, interesting, sophomoric reality show answers to things. And then and he vomits them up all over the place, and while everyone's busy cleaning their shoes, he moves off to some other thing.
By the way, great Carson impersonation with the cough there.
Oh,
very nice.
I wish that's what it was.
Yeah, he coughed all night. Hey, Jonah Goldberg from National Review Online. Who is going to be the next person to drop out of the race?
Well,
yes.
Look, I mean, first of all, I'm waiting for the Jim Gilmore comeback.
Pataki had a good night.
I thought he had one of the best nights of anybody last night. I think he was eating pizza in a Ramada Inn somewhere. But I think, the problem with some of these guys is that they're not really campaigning for president anymore. They're just sort of justifying their egos or their speaking fees or whatever. So I think some of these guys won't drop out until after the Iowa caucuses. The one exception might be Rand Paul, who does have to focus on his reelection in Kentucky, and it's clearly not going to win. And so he's just trying to reassert his libertarian credentials for a little bit. But, I'd be surprised if any of these guys dropped out before the Iowa caucuses. When you're already at 0 or, 1 in the polls, whatever blow to your ego that is has already been delivered. You might as well just sort of hang out and see what happens.
He is Jonah Goldberg. You can catch his musings at National Review Online, NRO, nationalreviewonline.com. Jonah, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be here, guys. Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Rain is here, but it will pass as everything else does. And then we'll have mostly cloudy skies, breezy, mild, high of 52 degrees. Tomorrow, the cold returns. It's going to be cloudy, breezy, and into the 30s we go, a high of 36. Travel times, how's the inbound Eisenhower, Jim Telemonte?
Amy, it's not a lot of fun. It is 53 minutes Thorndale to downtown, so I guess it could be worse. The delays are from Manheim to Independence, 40 minutes from Manheim to the Loop, outbound 37 minutes to Thorndale. The Kennedy, 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown, with the delay starting at Canfield, outbound 41 minutes. Eden's 32 minutes, Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 29. The Stevenson has the highest travel time at 1 hour and 4 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. It's 47 minutes from the Tri-State, outbound 38 minutes to 355. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive now jamming up on the southbound side from Montrose to North Avenue. And the northbound Tri-State has heavy delays from Cicero to Ogden thanks to an earlier crash. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center. I know you want to work with a Chicagoland real estate agent with qualified buyers who can guarantee to sell your home. That's why you should call Saul Z and the Z team. If 29 days pass without a sale on your listing, Saul will buy it or help you run it. And working with Saul won't obligate you to anything. If you aren't happy, cancel the contract. Saul literally has buyers lined up and ready to buy due to his aggressive and innovative marketing program. For example, Ward had a home in Jefferson Park and heard about Saul Z from a colleague and was so impressed by Saul's marketing plan that he listed his home for $225,000 with Saul. It sold for 7 days for $30,000 over the asking price. That's why the Wall Street Journal ranks Saul number 106 out of more than 1.2 million agents, because Saul sells over 300 homes per year on average, many times more, I should say, than his competitors. I know I'll be calling Saul when I'm ready to sell my well-appointed condo or buy a new home. So go to callsaul.net. That's callsaul, SAUL.net, to find out what your home's worth, or call Saul directly at 888-346-0666. That number, 888-346-0666, and start packing.
No one ever imagines facing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia and needing full-time care, but it happens. And deciding on the right residential care for mom or dad can be a monumental task. There is a memory care community that focuses on helping your parent or loved one with dementia light up and live life to the fullest, making them feel like family. Autumn Leaves memory care communities see past the diagnosis to the person you know, that your dad was a fantastic cook, or that your mom loved to dance, a person who deserves so much more than being just an Alzheimer's patient. Whether it's through yoga and music therapy or simply by cooking them their favorite meal, Autumn Leaves strives to stimulate their minds and bodies to respect and nurture the person you care so much about. See for yourself the difference Autumn Leaves communities can mean for your family. Autumn Leaves, dedicated solely to the unique needs of memory care patients.
Autumn Leaves has 10 locations in the Chicagoland area offering day-stay respite and assisted living programs. Call 888-662-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
The weather in Chicago is only going to get worse this winter, but do you know where it's always going to be warm and sunny for the next 5 months? Los Cabos, Mexico. That's where we're heading April 2nd through April 9th. We'll be staying at the beautiful Secrets Puerto Los Cabos Golf and Spa Resorts. It's an all-inclusive, all-suites resorts. I've been there. This place is gorgeous, top-of-the-line amenities. It opened in December of 2013. And it has 8 restaurants, 4 bars serving unlimited premium drinks, and 24-hour-a-day room service.
The resort has 2 sparkling pools and access to 3 miles of pristine beaches.
I know how you love the walks along the beach.
It's one of my turn-ons.
Mm-hmm.
And adjacent to the resort are 2 9-hole golf courses designed by Jack Nicklaus and Greg Norman. Join us in Cabo. Get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword escape. The price that Apple Vacations has secured for this trip is incredible and exclusive to us here at AM 560, so don't miss out. Visit 560theanswer.com, keyword escape.
AM 560, The Answer.
Come, they told me,
Let's spread some holiday cheer this year, and if you haven't done so, time is quickly running out, but you can help us out. We have teamed up with Feed the Children. What's raised here stays here, and our goal is to feed 18,000 hungry children in Chicago, but more importantly, in the surrounding suburbs. There's a number of, shelters and food pantries that people take advantage of, and we need to donate money to them to keep them afloat. But you can just make a quick phone call, 866-435-2248, and donate whatever you can. We're asking for a one-time donation of $76, but any amount is fine. Again, 866-435-2248.
Another way to participate, as dozens of area businesses have, like Express Pros and Charles Equipment and Franciscan Outreach and Grandview Capital and Heartstrings and Access Master and Meg Schmidt Consulting and Tallgrass Restoration and on and on. A way to join those good corporate citizens is to participate in our Business Benefactor Program, wherein you make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children, and in return, receive 40 60-second commercials that run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on these airwaves at AM 560 The Answer. All you do is call sales manager Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527 and ask for the Business Benefactor Program. He'll get you signed up. Or you can just simply text the word FEED to our turnkey.pro text line 64636, and you'll be prompted to participate.
And we thank you in advance for your generosity.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a cancer canceled plan or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Hey, I got a great night's sleep last night thanks to MyPillow. It conforms to your neck and back. It gives you support where you need it most. It's washable, and it helps if you have problems with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies. And give it a try. And why should you? Because we still have the buy one, get one free offer, but we also still have the 60-day full money-back guarantee. So basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. American-made, the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. So go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, 2 pillows for the price of one. Here's an idea. Keep one for yourself and give one as a gift. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call the 800 number. 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. And be sure to tell them that Amy sent you.
AM 560. The Answer.
City sidewalks, busy sidewalks.
Throughout December, we're celebrating Christmas here at AM 560 by helping you build your own Christmas playlist. This month, we're offering 12 days of Christmas music when you use the AM 560 mobile app on your smartphone. If you don't have the app, go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download it. Once you have it, just open the app today.
Can I guess what song it is?
You can download
Silver Bells by Burl Ives, who went to Eastern Illinois.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever see him in Big Country? Rufus Hannity in Big Country, Gregory Peck, Charlton Heston?
No.
Pretty good actor. So add Silver Bells by Burl Ives to your personal Christmas playlist. He's a Panther. Absolutely free. Check the app again on Friday when the free music download on the AM 560 mobile app will be Christmas Canon by the Trans-Siberian Orchestra and Merry Christmas from AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, our good friend Stephen Moore will be here. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
A rain shower and 39 degrees. GOP candidates continue to go after each other after the debate ended here on AM 560 last night. And in Las Vegas, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul accused New Jersey Governor Chris Christie of promoting ideas that would lead to World War III. And in the spin room, Christie responded.
If your eyes are glazing over like mine, this is what it's like to be on the floor of the United States Senate. I mean, endless debates about how many angels on the head of a pin from people who've never had to make a consequential decision in an executive position.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Florida Senator Marco Rubio clashing over immigration reform and how to attack ISIS, and Jeb Bush continued to go after Donald Trump this morning.
He has made it clear that he gets his foreign policy advice from the shows. He's made it clear that he thinks Hillary Clinton was a great negotiator, could be a great negotiator in Iran. He thinks ISIS wasn't a threat just 2 months ago. He's not a serious candidate.
The former Florida governor on Fox News this morning say it doesn't matter whether he likes Trump or not. It's just that he doesn't believe he's ready to be president. Los Angeles schools reopening today after being closed yesterday because of an email threat hoax. Authorities in Maryland preparing for public reaction to the verdict in the case of a Baltimore police officer tied to the death of Freddie Gray. Yesterday, jurors said they were deadlocked. The judge sent them back for more deliberations. Funeral services will be held this week for a Chicago firefighter who died falling down an elevator shaft while battling a warehouse fire. Visitation for 42-year-old Daniel Capuano is Thursday afternoon at St. Rita High School Chapel. The funeral Friday at the same Chicago chapel. Meantime, Illinois remembering that Chicago firefighter who died in the line of duty. The Governor Rauner's office asking that all U.S. and state flags be flown at half-staff beginning today. Chicago sports. Colorado beat the Blackhawks 3-0 last night. Game snapping Blackhawks forward Patrick Kane's point streak at 26 games. Kane's franchise record streak, the longest since Matt Sundin's 30-game stretch in 1992-93. The news, a service of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Someone you know is suffering from Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. They're dealing with excruciating pain, days when they won't be able to get out of bed. Help someone you know and support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, ccfa.org. 6:34 is our time, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Chicago Wolves host Rockford Saturday at 7, part of the Illinois Lottery Cup, and Monday the 21st versus Manitoba. Saturday is T-shirt giveaway night, sponsored by Hyde & Hine. For information, visit ChicagoWolves.com.
The holidays are just around the corner, and you want your home to feel warm and inviting so that you can create a memorable experience. Before you start decorating for the season, call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning at 708-599-5151. There's still time to have your carpet, upholstery, tile, and grout cleaned before those special dinner guests arrive. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning's process is safe for your entire family. They use their own purified water and a non-toxic solution that leaves no residue, so you can rest assured you'll have a clean carpet when the kids and grandkids exchange their gifts. Want one of the best gifts this holiday season? It's Executive Green's no-risk guarantee. If you are not 100% satisfied, you will not pay for your service. Make your home beautiful for the holidays by scheduling now at 708-599-5151. Ask about their holiday special, 3 rooms for $139. 708-599-5151 or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
When I started on this, I stopped my blood pressure and my cholesterol medicine. My blood pressure after a week since then has been normal, and my bad cholesterol dropped 27 points in 3 weeks, and my overall cholesterol dropped like 25 points. So I'm good. So I'm not taking anything.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
7:36 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The northbound tri-state has heavy delays from around 111th to Ogden thanks to an earlier crash. Then it's slow from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue and Duffy to 22. Half day with a crash there in the left lane. Adams Tollway stop and go Barrington Road to 53. And from the Des Plaines Oasis to Lee, westbound slow approaching Lee as well. The inbound Edens runs 32 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 29. The Kennedy, 50 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 41. The Eisenhower now runs an hour from Thorndale to the Loop, and outbound 45 minutes. The Stevenson, an hour and 10 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. To Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic service in the city of Chicago and Cook County. Suspicious activity can be found anywhere. Help keep our community safe. Call 855-RPRT-2S4. You see something, say something from the Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications and the Cook County Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Morning showers and cloudy and breezy in the afternoon. 52 for a high and a chilly low of 30 overnight. 39 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and so Amy, last night was all national security, foreign policy, war on terror. Not a lot of discussion about economics, but there is, of course, an economic component to all of this because...
it needs funding?
Correct.
The military?
Correct. And there's a real disagreement in the Republican Party about the sequester and its impact on the military. You saw it play out in both the undercard and the main event. And for more on that topic, as that theme music so indicated, we're now joined by Steve Moore, Chief Economist at the Heritage Foundation. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hi, guys. Good morning. I did watch the debate last night, so
I'm ready to go. I'm
right.
ready to rumble.
Well, so let's talk about the sequester component of the discussion. Rand Paul made the point, I'm the only fiscal conservative on the stage because I'm willing to talk about reducing military spending as well as welfare state spending. And a lot of Republicans, maybe even those who supported the sequester initially, seem to be walking it back or being very quiet about it because of all the discussion about the need to modernize our military.
Well, I think Republicans have made a mistake for many, many years of equating national security with spending on the military, and those things are not the equivalent. And look, I'm a hawk when it comes to national security and national defense. I want America, as Phil Graham used to say, when the lion lies down with the lamb, I want to be the lion, not the lamb. But we spend a lot of money on our military. We spend well over $500 billion a year. We have by far the biggest military in the world. And I'm with Rand. I think we have to start looking at how we spend this money. I mean, this is a new age we're living in where what we need is to spend a lot more money on intelligence to figure out where the terrorists are and what they're planning and how to apprehend them. And probably less, World War II type of military equipment and so on. In other words, we need to be smart about this. And I think we can keep our country safe for $600 billion. I don't think we have to spend $700 or $800 billion. And I want to make one other point that Rand made. And obviously, I love Rand because I've worked with him, and I think he's smart on so much stuff. Our national debt is a national security issue. Reagan used to say, when you're weak at home, you're weak abroad. And one of the reasons that Putin and the terrorists are kind of kicking sand in our face is because we're not strong. And we got to rebuild not just our military, but our economy. And I think the latter comes before the former.
Now, I know that you've worked with most of the candidates who were up there last night. Who do you think had the strongest performance?
I thought Jeb made a real comeback, Jeb Bush. And
really?
I have to say, that I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes. Last week we need is another Bush. And I'm not a big fan of the Bush empire whatsoever. But, I look at those 9 people on that stage, and I try to ask this question. Who's ready to be president? Who is ready to be commander-in-chief? And that was the question that Jeb asked at the end. And I do think he makes a powerful case that despite he's not very charismatic lately and he's kind of awkward on the stage, there's just no question in my mind that he could do this job. I'm not so sure about some of the others. I love Marco Rubio. I think he's one of the great young talents of our time, but I was watching Dan and Amy, I was watching the debate with my 13-year-old son who doesn't follow this stuff that close, and he says, "Who is that guy? How old is he? Is he 26 years old?" I mean, I think he is hampered by the fact that he's not just young, he looks young.
Yeah, I mean, Cruz and Rubio are the same age, but they come across as at least a generation apart, don't they?
They do. And look, I like Marco a lot. I mean, really, I think he's one of the great young talents of our party, and I think he will be president someday. I'm not so sure he will. And I think he's got a decent chance of winning this time. I thought Carson was good, by the way. I thought Carson was much, much better than at the last debate. I thought he was really poor in the last debate, but he was very thoughtful. And he had some really good answers on this question, are you ready to be, the president, because you don't have any political experience. And he just laughed at that, as I witnessed it. Political experience, that's what got us into this damn hole we're in. With all these people who have political experience, we need less political experience, not more.
Well, what about the argument that was offered by Christie and offered by Carly, that you got a couple of senators up here, all they do is speechify. They don't make any executive decisions. They've never had to stand and deliver on anything. That's why you can't go with a first-term senator.
I think there is a lot to that. And there's a reason, Dan and Amy, that we haven't elected very many senators to the presidency. And Barack Obama was the second in the 20th century in the last 100 years. And by the way, that hasn't worked out so well, has it?
No, it has not.
And by the way, I would make the case one problem for Rubio is, he is charming, he is smart, he's quick on his feet, he's a good debater, he's charismatic. But, we just tried that, and it didn't work out so well. And I hear from a lot of people who say, geez, do we really want to elect, a Republican Barack Obama? Now, that's unfair. I'm just saying that's what some people are saying, and, I think he's going to have to overcome that.
Yeah, but I just on that point, I mean, people say that, so they have that attribute in common, and they have completely different political philosophies that drive completely different policy choices, and that's the problem,
That's true. No, I agree entirely with that, and you're right. Marco is smart. He understands the world. Barack Obama clearly doesn't. But look, the other thing I thought was interesting was on this immigration issue, because the party is really grappling with this issue, and it's very divided. I mean, you've got a lot of Republicans just want to slam shut the door to any immigration on both foreign policy and economic grounds. I'm not an expert on terrorism, but I'll say this on economic grounds: it is insane to close our borders. We need immigrants. This country was built on the talents of immigrants, and this idea that we're going to keep out Mexican, fruit pickers, and somehow that's going to keep us safe from terrorism, I think is misguided and wrong. The Republican Party has to be, and I forget who it was last night, maybe you guys remember, who invoked the Reagan metaphor of America being a shining city on a hill. And I hope we're not so terrified by the terrorists that we lose that greatness of America, that we take the best and the brightest from the rest of the world, and we bring them in the United States, and we've created an economic system that is second to none. And so I'm worried about that great divide now within the Republican Party and whether the Republican Party should be a pro-immigration or an anti-immigration party. And by the way, I want to put a footnote on this, because I'm with all these guys that I don't trust Barack Obama for 1 second to adequately screen these people, these refugees. I mean, this is a big problem, that we have a president who doesn't feel like we're in a war, basically.
Does Donald Trump really have a financial plan to get us out of debt?
I think Donald Trump is
working on it.
Away. I'm hesitating because, look, I thought, by the way, I'm not going to answer your question. I think he might. And look, the fact that he has a business background, I think, is very attractive. I agree with Trump and Fiorina. You politicians, the people who screwed it up, and now you say we can't be a politician as a president. I love the fact that they are not politicians. I like that about Ben Carson. I laugh at my liberal friends and say, Ben Carson, he's not, doesn't have the qualifications to be president. I'm like, compared to the guy we got in there now, I mean, give me a break. But I will say this about Donald Trump: the most important thing what was the most important thing that happened last night?
He embraced Ted Cruz.
It was Donald Trump saying, "I will not run."
Yes, right.
Yeah. That was huge.
Yeah.
That was huge. Because
now you're talking like Trump.
Me?
Now you're talking like Trump. Yeah.
Well, they love me. Come on, Dan. You guys love me. Everybody loves me. Everybody in Chicago loves me. That's why I've got such a big lead in the poll.
Well, I liked when Ted Cruz said, "I'll build a wall, but I'll make Donald Trump pay for it." That was great.
That was a good line. And by the way, kudos to CNN. I thought they ran a really good debate. Wolf Blitzer, I thought, was excellent. And they were tough, but they were fair. And so I thought it was a good debate. These guys showed a lot of knowledge about foreign policy, but I thought to some extent they got too much into the weeds. Like when you guys were talking about the exchanges between between Cruz and Rubio about what's going on the Senate floor, and I work every day on this stuff, and my eyes were glazed over. So I wonder what the American people thought.
We're talking to Steve Moore, chief economist at the Heritage Foundation. Steve, I want to go back to the issue of immigration, because a rather seismic column was penned this week from your friend and colleague Larry Kudlow, doing a full reverse. I mean, there's again another pro-immigration Republican, very much in your vein, but doing a full reverse based on the circumstances on the ground.
Yeah, and Larry and I have talked about this. I love Larry, and by the way, I'm hoping that he runs for the United States Senate in Connecticut, and if he does, I will do everything in my power to make that happen, because I think Larry is one of the great statesmen and minds of our time. He and I very rarely disagree, but we've had a pretty strong disagreement on this one. I mean, I told Larry, last night we were on the radio, and I said, "Look, Larry, how in the world is shutting immigration completely going to keep us safe from terrorists? I mean, my goodness, the people in San Bernardino who created these heinous acts, they weren't in there. They were here as legal citizens. They weren't, so I think one of them was born in the United States, for goodness sake. So I don't see that as a solution to and my goodness, immigrants have huge, they serve in our military, they start businesses, they are going to help. They talked a lot last night, quite correctly, about technology is the way to defeat the terrorists, and I thought Carly was great on that. Let's use the private sector to figure out where these guys are, not the government. But who builds these great companies? They're immigrants. So I just disagree with Larry on that. I think it's a false premise to say by shutting down our borders we're going to keep us safe, because a lot of the terrorists are already here.
All right. He is Steve Moore, Chief Economist at the Heritage Foundation. Steve, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great week, and talk.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
And he
Sorry, didn't mean to
joined us-
cut him off.
Joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Some rain passing through here right now. Otherwise, it will be mostly cloudy today, breezy and mild, a high of 52 degrees. Enjoy it because things are changing tonight. Low of 30 degrees, 29 degrees in outlining areas. And then tomorrow, cloudy, breezy, and colder, a high in the mid-30s. Let's get the travel times. How's the inbound Edens, Jim?
Amy, it has delays starting around Niles Center. 32 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 33. The Kennedy is now an hour from O'Hare to downtown. 37 minutes from Montrose, 23 in the Express, outbound 41 minutes to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 47 minutes. The Stevenson, an hour and 10 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound just 37 minutes. The Ryan is a heavy 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Delays on southbound Lakeshore Drive, Montrose to North Avenue, and 18th to the Stevenson, northbound from the Stevenson to 18th. Northbound Tri-State jammed Cicero to Ogden, from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, and Lake Cook to Half Day with a crash in the left lane. And northbound, there's a Gapers delay from 60 to 22, Half Day. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
This Christmas, give the people on your list the gift of holiday happiness, rich chocolatey brownies from Vermont Brownie Company. Featuring decadent flavors like dark chocolate with a touch of sea salt, buttery maple toffee, and walnut chunk. They're ridiculously good. So surprise and delight your loved ones with some of the best brownies they'll ever taste. They're baked using farm-fresh ingredients that's pure bliss in every bite. To order and save 10%, use the code 2000. Your gift comes specially packaged with a free personalized gift card. What are you waiting for? To give a sweet gift for under $20, go to VermontBrownie.com. That's VermontBrownie.com. Use the promo code 2000 to save 10%. Christmas delivery guaranteed. Hurry because this offer ends soon.
Toasty.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a cancer plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. 97. That's the percentage of Chicago Teachers Union members who voted yes in a recent mock vote. Yes, they voted. They are prepared to go out on strike for the second time in 4 years. The annual average CPS teacher salary is just under $80,000. And that's before you include their health insurance benefits and guaranteed seven-figure pensions. The bankrupt, junk-rated Chicago public schools spend more than $15,000 annually per pupil, and yet 75% of 4th and 8th graders are neither proficient in reading nor math. This in a system of nearly 400,000 students. So who's the bad guy here? Is it the teachers union or the mayor's office? Yes, there are no white hats in the story of central planners from City Hall fighting with the central planners from the teachers union over who gets to be the lead central planner at CPS. If the teachers strike, they deserve to be unlocked from their jobs. CPS students deserve access to schools that will give them the opportunity to earn an education that sets them on a course for success in life. The only way that happens is if the adults inside CPS, the parents, and the adults outside CPS, state political leaders, change the flow of money away from central planners and to families so that they may make the same choices for their children that Tiny Dancer did for his kids matriculating at the University of Chicago Lab School. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Dan, you want to know what these companies all have in common? I'm talking about Heil Insurance, the Viking Ski Shop, Air Filters Engineers, Lindholm Roofing, Charles Equipment, Express Pros. Do you know what they all have in common?
They want to leave Illinois.
No, they're here, and they're advertising here on this very station as part of our business benefactor program. What that is you make a one-time donation of $2,500. It's tax deductible, and all of the money goes to Feed the Children, which is the campaign that the charity that we've teamed up with this holiday season. $2,500 as a way of saying thank you. We will give you 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. We're not pushing you to the weekends. And if you want to be involved in this program, well, here's what you do. You call sales manager Michael Mann right now. Do it today. If you've been thinking about it, just call him. He'll answer your questions. Call him directly at 847-871-1527. That's 847-871-1527. And guess what? You do that. You want it? Dan could voice your commercials for you if you'd like. Do you want to do some impersonations?
How about Judge Smales?
Okay. What do you got?
Danny, I've sentenced boys younger than you to the gas chamber, not because I wanted to, but because I felt I owed it to them. How's that?
That's good.
Thank you.
Call Michael Mann directly, 847-871-1527. Commercials are so valuable, and this station is growing by leaps and bounds, and we're the only station in town talking politics all day, every day. So you're going to want to be an advertiser on the station in 2016. Call Michael Mann right now. He's waiting by the phone, 847-871-1527.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you wanted to purchase a home after filing bankruptcy or when your home was foreclosed, you called me and I helped you. When you tried to purchase a home you couldn't afford, you called me and I advised you to purchase a less expensive home. If you want to talk with me about a mortgage, please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email David at perldavid.com. That's David at perldavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Take a quick look in the mirror. Do you see those bags under your eyes? Well, imagine them gone. Men and women, you both have them, and there's only 1 week left to get rid of them with the Chamonix holiday sale. So now is the time to get rid of those bags and puffiness under your eyes safely and naturally. Introducing Genucell plant stem cell therapy for bags and puffiness under the eyes. Rosa from New Jersey wrote, I felt the bags under my eyes firm up and the skin was glowing. Your product helped me to reduce puffiness quickly. In a couple of weeks, I stopped using concealer because of the improvement. And with its instant effects, you'll see results in the first 12 hours guaranteed, or they'll give you your money back. But don't wait. This crazy sale will only be around for 1 more week. Order now, and you'll also get the legendary Esotique face cream as a free gift. Call 800-525-8323, 800-525-8323. Call now, and express holiday shipping is also free. 800-525-8323. That's 800-525-8323.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
How does economic inequality emerge in a free society? From a bunch of win-win transactions. When J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter books, she created something of value. A bunch of great stories that millions of people willingly and happily paid $20 a piece for. Now, what happened to inequality as a result? It grew. Rowling became a billionaire, while her fans saw their income stay the same and their wealth go down by a tiny amount, $20. Inequality grew, but everyone was better off as a result. That's the way inequality arises under freedom, and that's why it should. For more, see my book with Don Watkins, Equal is Unfair, America's Misguided Fight Against Income Inequality. Visit ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Ron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Every floor in stock is on sale at Lumber Liquidators' end-of-year clearance sale. Get massive savings up to 70% on over 400 top-quality floors, including 3/4-inch solid pre-finished oak for $199, and more hardwood deals from an incredible 89 cents. Plus, get the lowest price of the year on wood look tile, now just 79 cents. Get North American and European laminates from 39 cents, and save an extra 10% on clearance and closeouts. Get to your store for more deals and pay no interest until 2018. End-of-year clearance sales going on now. Visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, Pastor Gregory C. Livingston joins us to explain what the Black Christmas campaign is as it relates to recalling Rahm.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and rejoin Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a funeral set for a Chicago firefighter. That story coming up. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Who did voters like best last night?
I was really impressed by Marco Rubio. I think that Christie did a fabulous job.
I think Jeb Bush did an unbelievable job.
Well, Bush certainly got into it with frontrunner Donald Trump in the 5th Republican presidential primetime debate on CNN on Salem Radio. Fox's Jared Halpern was there, now live in Las Vegas.
Amid back and forth between Donald Trump, Jeb Bush, and others, it was Senators Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz who opened serious disputes over the NSA metadata collection and immigration reform.
Some chose, like Senator Rubio, to stand with Barack Obama and Chuck Schumer and support a massive amnesty plan.
Ted, you support legalizing people who are in this country illegally.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie dismissing the Senate spats.
They continue to debate about this bill and in the subcommittee and what nobody in America cares about that. What they care about is, are we going to have a president who actually knows what they're doing?
Christie touting his experience as a U.S. prosecutor after 9/11. Dave.
Jared, the day after complaining they're deadlocked, jurors are back to work in Baltimore at the first police officer trial in Freddie Gray's death. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Baltimore.
12 men and women, 7 black and 5 white, went home last night after 9 hours of deliberations, unable to reach a verdict on whether Officer William Porter is guilty of manslaughter and misconduct. They sent the judge a note yesterday afternoon telling him they were at an impasse. The judge ordered them back to work but finally allowed them to go home. It's tense here in Baltimore. Some businesses damaged in last spring's riots have just now been getting back to normal. Police and riot gear are staged throughout the city. Dave.
Rachel, a medical helicopter is in pieces in Arizona after crashing last night with a pilot, a paramedic, and a nurse on board. 2 were killed. 1 survived but was seriously injured. A Southwest Airlines flight skidded off a runway in Nashville. This passenger says it felt like a car going off the road.
And you hit the surface that isn't smooth and you're kind of bumping around.
8 people on board were hurt on the flight from Houston, but their injuries are mostly minor. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies. We've had some light rain showers move through the area. 40 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Funeral services will be held this week for a Chicago firefighter who died after tumbling down an elevator shaft battling a smoky warehouse blaze at 92nd in Baltimore this week. Chicago fire officials say visitation for 42-year-old Daniel Capuano is Thursday afternoon at St. Rita High School in the chapel. The City Council committee meeting yesterday broke out discussing the 2005 police shooting of Emmanuel Lopez. Chicago's Latino caucus is questioning whether excessive force was used in that fatal incident. Investigators say the shooting was justified after Lopez ran over an officer while drunk after a traffic altercation. The Latino caucus is requesting that federal investigators review that case. A man accused of impersonating a police officer over the weekend is now in custody. Raiz Samju was arrested Monday by Chicago police after he posed as an officer during an argument Saturday at an auto shop. A high school teacher in Oak Park is behind bars after he was accused of having a sexual relationship with one of his students. Jeremy Lind is an English teacher at Oak Park River Forest High School. He's charged with criminal sexual assault. School officials placed Lind on administrative leave in October. Chicago sports, Colorado beat the Blackhawks 3-0. College buckets, Northwestern over Mississippi Valley State. Stanford beat DePaul. And in the Big Ten, Wisconsin coach Bo Ryan announces his retirement effective immediately. The news, a service of Massage Envy. Whatever the reason, Massage Envy can help you manage the side effects of this wonderful thing we call living. Give the gift of total body care. Get a free massage or facial service with minimum gift card purchase. Not valid online. See clinic for details. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Lillian Wu.
From the Fox Business Network, the Fed expected to cap off its two-day meeting this afternoon with an interest rate decision. Analysts believe that boost off record lows will only be 0.25%, as Fed policymakers stress they intend to move gradually and in small increments. A hike would mean higher interest rates on mortgages, credit cards, and auto loans. On Capitol Hill, congressional leaders say they're ready to push a compromise on tax cuts and spending through the House and Senate. House Speaker Paul Ryan saying a deal's been reached on a bipartisan package extending dozens of tax breaks for businesses and families and financing government for 2016. And GOP presidential hopeful and businessman Donald Trump loses in the British Supreme Court, which ruled unanimously against the tycoon in his battle to stop an offshore wind farm near his upscale Scottish golf resort. And South Korea lowering its growth outlook for 2016. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lillian Wu.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This Christmas season, AM 560 The Answer wants to help you celebrate by building your very own Christmas music playlist. It's 12 days of Christmas music. Just download the AM 560 mobile app on your smartphone, and once you're registered, you'll be able to download Christmas favorites from artists like Bing Crosby, Paul McCartney, Leanne Rimes, Nat King Cole, and others. Absolutely free. Celebrate Christmas with free music on the AM 560 mobile app.
Have you purchased gold? Did you overpay in commissions? How much did you pay? Do you actually know? What are your coins worth today? You work hard for your money. Pay their high commissions or get more gold. Call Goldworth. Discover what big dealers hope you don't know. Request the Insider's Guide free. Don't buy another ounce without it. Call 800-257-GOLD. 800-257-GOLD. Visit goldworth.com.
I had fantastic results with the Andro 400 Max. Probably lost 35 pounds, and more impressive than that was the inches I lost off of my belly and my waist. And the increased energy is fantastic.
Andro 400 Max, the best all-natural testosterone booster. Gain energy, lose belly fat. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
8:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Crashes have left the Tri-State Tollway with heavy delays northbound from 115th Street to Ogden. Then it's slow from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue and Lake Cook to 22. There's an accident on the left shoulder. Southbound, there's a heavy Capers delay from 137 to Half Day. Eastbound Adams Tollway stop and go Barrington to 53. Reagan Tollway from the Aurora Toll to Eola. Veterans Memorial, slow I-55 most of the way to Roosevelt, North Avenue to 290. Eden's inbound, 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, out on 33. The Kennedy is an hour and 7 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown, out on 41 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 9 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop, out on 47 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, out on 37 minutes. Bryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown, southbound Lakeshore Drive, jammed. Bryn Mawr to North Avenue, heavy 18th to Stevenson. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A passing shower or two for the morning, otherwise mainly cloudy and breezy today. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high of 50. Then a rather cloudy night with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, low of 30. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
40 at O'Hare, 44 along the lakefront. Next news coming up at 8:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer. Brought to you by Pure Shale Financial Group.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
The new ABC News Washington Post poll showing Trump with 38% nationwide. Another poll has him at 41%. The poll's taken after his proposed ban on Muslims coming to America. Next to him tonight, Ted Cruz for the first time, now neck and neck with Trump in Iowa.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
They can kill us, but we can't kill them. That's what you're saying.
If you want something talked about, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
That for Marco to suggest our record's the same, it is like suggesting the fireman and the arsonist have the same record because they're both at the scene of the fire.
Are you ready to reassure Republicans tonight that you will run as a Republican and abide by the decision of the Republicans?
I really am.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So yesterday at City Hall, new head of the Independent Police Review Authority and our friend Dean Angelo of the police union FOP Lodge 7, before the City Council, Joint City Council Committee dealing with fallout from the Laquan McDonald case, in which Emma Mitz, 37th Ward Alderman, said, we need to get rid of those suckers, those bad suckers.
Wow.
She's referring to bad police officers.
That hearing that went on all day and into the early evening hours, and the last person that spoke was our interim police commissioner.
Yeah, Escalante.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And by that time, when he spoke in, there were only 12 aldermen left. Everyone else, they went home.
Well, sure.
They had things to do. I mean, we don't need to hear from him. I mean, he's only in charge. That's okay. We'll get the clips in the morning from the news.
They're not used to, staying at City Hall more than through lunch.
The protesters stayed, though.
They did. Also yesterday, a 20-page report that was produced by Gary McCarthy after his listening tour in the neighborhood 6 months ago. This apparently got shelved by Tiny Dancer and the regime there at City Hall. Didn't employ too many of the recommendations that came from McCarthy's 20-page report, but that's now part of the conversation in terms of what should be done, particularly in the area of transparency going forward. Transparency turns out to be a big issue because there's more calls for settlement conferences from previous police-involved shooting cases, as well as the release of additional dash cam videos and other related evidence in open investigations or investigations that some want reopened.
Yeah, and I want to tell you, a fight's underway to get video of yet another fatal Chicago police shooting, and this was Alphontish Nunu Cockerham. He was 23 years old, and there is surveillance video from a business that police have in their possession that the family wants released. The police claim the Cockerman ran from police and turned and pointed a gun at him, but everyone on the scene said he did not have a gun. He even said, I don't have anything. And people that were there on the scene, too, are working with the family to try to get this video released. So it just keeps going on and on and on of victims' family members who want the truth out there. Well, and they want to know, too, if they can, cash in on the city.
Well, also,
if there was a wrongful death.
Also this morning, a press conference at City Hall. Our friend, Pastor Gregory Seal Livingston, and others, including Jeffrey Coleman, the brother of Philip Coleman, who was tased and beaten in police custody, later died from an allergic reaction to an antipsychotic drug. He was having a mental breakdown. This was a case that was ruled on by a federal judge this week, referring it to the jury for damages, them to determine the damage award for the Coleman family. But the federal judge saying, yes, Chicago police used excessive force. This press conference this morning calling on elected officials and party officials across the political spectrum to move LaShawn Ford's legislation to provide Chicagoans with the opportunity to recall one Rahm Emanuel, not going away, as some in the Democrat power structure, as well as cowardly Republicans had hoped. And we're now joined by the aforesaid Reverend Gregory Livingston. Reverend, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning.
Good morning. So tell us what the press conference is about and what you guys want to accomplish.
Well, we understand the need to apply pressure because Rahm is a formidable foe. We recognize that. And so we have to really ramp up what we're doing. And one of the things that we called for was for President Obama. He endorsed Rahm twice. Rahm was his chief of staff, to connect with Rahm and tell Rahm to resign. Tell him it's time to go. Barack, come get your boy. And
that's a good hashtag campaign.
Oh, without a doubt. And then for Representative Madigan, President Preckwinkle, Joe Barry, Assessor Barrios, Alderman Burke, Alderman O'Connor, Alderman Sawyer, these leaders in our city and state, hey, guys, step up and tell this man he needs to resign. It is a coordinated effort. And because if he doesn't realize how unsalvageable his political career is, it's time to go. Your knees are gone. You can't catch anymore. You don't recover from injuries quick enough. Man, you're gone. So, Barack, you're the only one that can do it. Come get your boy. We want to reach out to him officially and unofficially and say, look, and people say, what happens if Rahm isn't here? Well, we're better off without him than with him.
So, Reverend Livingston, what elected politicians have signed up and who are willing to try and get this recall effort underway?
None.
Not one?
Well,
what I mean by that, LaShawn Ford, Mary Flowers, I believe Jamie Andrade, he's the co-author of the bill as well. And it's time off all of this apprehension and political shenanigans. It's like, look, let's represent the people. Let's help each other. This isn't a fight to just get out there and just throw contumelies, insults at one another. But it's like we have a real stake, people that are really suffering, people that want to do good business and everything else. Let's be their servants. Let's help them help themselves.
Well, so Alderman Emma Mitz, I just mentioned what she had to say about getting bad cops off the streets. And there's a lot of speechifying and sanctimony coming from members of the city council as it relates to police, as it relates to Rahm. A lot of speechifying and sanctimony coming from members of the General Assembly, but not a lot of co-sponsors on the legislation filed by LaShawn Ford. What's it going to take? What are members of the Black Caucus that aim to represent their communities in both the city council and the General Assembly? What are they waiting for?
We're going to have to create allies. It seems like Rahm has written everybody's script, and he's funding everybody's campaign. So we're going to have to create allies from within. And the thing is, we really, Dan, we have massive numbers that we're going to be having go from office to office, from elected official to elected official, and we're going to flood Springfield when the legislature comes back in session on January 13th, because the people are tired. We're going to have enough buses to scoop up all those young people on the street, drive down to Springfield, let them go in and do their thing.
Why are you using the hashtag Black Christmas?
Well, the hashtag Black Christmas is this. In Chicago, the iconic song "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas" by Bing Crosby. It's a Black Christmas here. I mean, people are dying. Schools have been closed. $500 million in police misconduct money. All these things. Mental health cuts and everything else. For a lot of people, it's not a happy Christmas. But I think that the commercialized Christmas is symbolic of the Emanuel administration. He values profit over people. And so, but the real Christmas values people over profit. You have Jesus and you have King Herod and trying to kill him and all these things because he's afraid of his kingdom being disrupted and taken away. The same thing with Rahm Emanuel. So we're going to pray, for our city, our administration, for everybody. We're going to go down the street from North Wacker, Michigan, the bridge on, and we're going to, but between now and that time, we're going to help people to go to different stores, shop at different places, the suburbs or neighborhood stores besides Michigan Avenue, because, look, people say, well, what about people in their jobs? Well, we're telling people over 3,300 people have been shot, all of these murders and everything else. What's the worth of a human life? Is it worth a day off from work or something like that? And I say yes. So, every new birth, there's no such thing as an unbloody birth. So in order to get somewhere, we're going to have to shed a little blood. But guess what? Joy is coming after that.
Black Christmas. I like the spin on Bing Crosby's White Christmas. Maybe Burl Lives, instead of silver bells, it can be hell's bells because you're bringing hell to Rahm Emanuel. How about that? Just continuing to spitball these hashtag campaigns. Interesting you mentioned this. It seems to me it's not just about the Laquan McDonald case. There was a piece in DNA Info. Mike Thomas, he is a DuSable graduate, and he is a senior at Southern Mississippi, and he's a standout receiver who's an NFL prospect. And he said, I just want to move my family out of Chicago. It's not safe. It's not safe. They can stay in Illinois. I just don't want them in that dangerous area. I want to move them out and move them into a safer place. It seems to me commentaries like that represent the abject failure of the Rahm Emanuel administration beyond simply the Laquan McDonald case or other police-involved shootings. It's a complete failure of the regime, and this is why the focus needs to be on putting Rahm's head on a spike outside City Hall.
Yeah, all this other stuff is just a distraction. Going after, we need to go after some other people, but he's the head. And and if you don't affect the head, it's still going to happen. Things are still going to go as they do. And so, it's just trickery, if you will, and where he's trying to deflect attention from himself, and his team is trying to do that. But he is the problem. And believe me, when he's gone, Chicago will be better. People are talking about who's going to replace him. Get rid of the cancerous leg first. Then we'll worry about the prosthetic.
There you go. Reverend Gregory Livingston, Coalition for New Chicago. Before we let you move on, any message to Republicans specifically? Republicans aren't really relevant in Chicago or haven't been for a long time, but maybe this is an opportunity for them to gain some relevance if they can gain some courage.
I think that if we are human beings before whatever labels we have, any human being in our coalition, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, black, white, brown, yellow, male, female, other. We don't care what you are. If you're interested in alleviating human suffering and making this city a better place, come on board. We look at you before we look at your label.
All right. He is Reverend Gregory Livingston, Coalition for New Chicago. Reverend Livingston, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan and Amy. Thank you.
No problem.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, it seems we're in between storms. The heavy stuff moved out, but there's a line of storms coming our way. And then for the rest of the day, it will be mostly cloudy, breezy, a high of 52 degrees. So enjoy it because tonight we go into the 30s and we'll remain there for the rest of the week. A high tomorrow of 36 degrees. Travel times, here's the one and only Jim Telemonte. Tell me more.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning. Buongiorno. Dan, inbound Kennedy, it's brutal. Delays are from Canfield all the way into the Loop. It's an hour and 12 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. 44 minutes from Montrose, 33 on the Express. Outbound 37 from downtown to the airport. Eden's 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound it's 33. The Eisenhower, an hour and 9 minutes from Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 51 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Rhine is 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive's heavy. Southbound really jammed. Bryn Mawr to North Avenue. 40 minutes. Hollywood to Monroe and the Tri-State's a mess. Northbound from 115th to Ogden, it's jammed. And then from the Reagan-Zoe to North Avenue and Lake Cook to 22 with a crash on the left shoulder. Southbound, it's a long Gapers delay from 120 to 22. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
There were times I was finding myself almost falling asleep at the wheel, that I had to pull over. That's the first thing I noticed, that hasn't happened since I've been taking Balance of Nature. I'm in sales, so I do a lot of walking during the day that would tire me out. I'm not as fatigued. I feel good.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
The weather in Chicago is only going to get worse this winter, but do you know where it will be warm and sunny for the next 5 months? Dan, where is it going to be warm and sunny?
Could it be Los Cabos, Mexico?
Correct. And we are heading there April 2nd through the 9th. We'll be staying at the beautiful Secrets Puerto Los Cabos Golf and Spa Resort. It's an all-inclusive, all-suites resort that opened in December of 2013. It's got 8 wonderful restaurants, 4 bars, serving unlimited premium drinks and 24-hour room service.
The resort has 2 sparkling pools and access to 3 miles of pristine beaches. And adjacent to the resort are 2 9-hole golf courses designed by Jack Nicklaus and Greg Norman. Join us in Cabo. Get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword escape. The price that Apple Vacations has secured for us here at AM 560 is incredible and exclusive to us. So don't miss out. Visit 560theanswer.com, keyword escape.
This is Michelle DeVal from DeVal Jewelers. Dennis and I want you to know that when you sell your diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, and estate jewelry to us, we will strive to give you the highest cash payment possible.
And all transactions are strictly confidential. There's absolutely no pressure. And like Michelle said, we can pay you 50% more by eliminating the middleman. Why? Because we are direct buyers.
We buy certified diamonds and engagement rings, 1/2 carat and above, broken and used gold jewelry, estate jewelry, gold and silver coins, and more. We really do understand the sentimental value and pledge to be considerate, knowledgeable, and private.
We have been Chicagoland's family jeweler for over 100 years. We take pride in having the perfect jewelry selection for every budget and taste preference.
We're just south of the Kennedy on Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights. Call us at 708-867-8200. That's 708-867-8200 or visit DAVALLE.com.
DeVal Jewelers, more bling
and less sting.
AM 560, The Answer.
Do you want to offer a Merry Christmas for those less fortunate this year?
Merry Christmas.
Yes, well, we have a way that you can help. We've teamed up again with Feed the Children. Our goal is to
I find this song a bit redundant, don't you?
Really? Well, yeah, it's the whole refrain the whole time.
Oh.
Our goal this year is to feed 18,000 children in and around the Chicagoland area. And hunger is a real problem. 1 in 5 children, suffer or go to bed hungry at night and wake up hungry. And needy families come from all walks of life. It only takes a job loss, a medical challenge, or maybe a divorce to change your circumstances and put a previously affluent family in deep need. And the needy families you're helping might be from your own neighborhood. So we're asking for a one-time donation of $76, but anything you can give is much appreciated. Call this number, 866-435-2248. We're almost at our goal, 866-435-2248.
The other way you can participate is through our business benefactor program, and I know some people have inquired and they haven't signed up quite yet.
Yeah.
Don't make me send my friends to have a conversation with you about the business benefactor program. Make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children, and you'll receive in exchange 40 60-second commercials that run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on these airwaves, AM 560 The Answer. All you do is call sales manager Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527 and ask about the business benefactor program. He'll get you signed up. Or you can just text the word FEED to our turnkey.pro text line 64636.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are signing up for this, but there's still some room for you. Companies I should mention, such as St. Timothy Lutheran Church of Lombard, Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, Express Pro, Strata Contractors, Comet Motorsports, just to name a few. And you want to be like the cool kids. You want to be on this list. Why? Commercials are so valuable and our station's growing, and nowhere in the Chicago area can you get 40 60-second commercials for just $2,500. And again, that money's tax deductible. All of it goes to Feed the Children. So you're helping the needy as well as helping your business get noticed and taking it to the next level. Michael Mann, he's in his office. He's waiting for your phone call. 847-871-1527. 847-871-1527.
Excuse me, miss. Do you think it might be possible to turn that music down so maybe a couple of the boys could talk?
That music is for everyone, Mr. McMurphy.
You think we might ease it down a little bit so maybe the boys didn't have to shout?
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, nothing frustrates me more than liberal hypocrisy. Take our food, for example. You know, the left claims to care about the poor and the environment, but guess what? They're waging a silent war against America's farmers that is making our food supply more costly and less sustainable. America's family farmers are producing more food using less land and fewer resources than ever before. Now, they should be cheered, but instead, radical groups are working with government bureaucrats to crack down on our farmers and limit the tools and technology that they're allowed to use. Now, the result is higher food costs for you, the American consumer, and low-income families, they're hit the hardest. Now, thankfully, someone is fighting back. Protect the Harvest is a national coalition working to defend modern American agriculture. You can check them out at protecttheharvest.com and follow them on Facebook to get the very latest news and see how you can help. Don't let radical activists control your family's food choices. Visit protecttheharvest.com today.
I am a MyPillow ambassador. I just love it. Can't live without it. Take it with me on vacations. Take it with me in the RV when I head down to St. Louis. But don't take my word for it. Listen to Sam.
I'm sleeping through the night a whole lot better than I used to because it does conform to your head and it doesn't seem to crush down. The other pillows I've had, I used them. They didn't work well. Turning to my pillow, I looked at that and I said, this is probably something just like the ones I've got. It turned out to be a whole lot different, a whole lot better.
So be like Sam, be like me. Go to mypillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, 2 pillows for the price of one. This offer is not going to last forever, folks. 2 pillows for the price of one. Keep one for yourself. Give one as a holiday gift. And there's also a 60-day money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied. mypillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the most talked about moments from last night's debate and who came out on top and on bottom. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. A gray and cloudy start to the day. We've had some rain showers pass through the area. And we're watching this morning the Federal Reserve. Expected to raise short-term interest rates today for the first time in nearly a decade. It may happen as soon as 10 o'clock our time. Policymakers will be wrapping up their 2-day December meeting. Republican presidential candidate Jeb Bush called out rival Donald Trump, calling him a chaos candidate. And last night's GOP presidential debate heard right here on AM 560. This morning, Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie said he tried to stay out of the mudslinging last night.
Who's best prepared, who's been most tested, and is most...
All right. Still talking about the debate? Mark's on line 1. He wants to talk about the debate.
Yeah, clearly. Go. Tomorrow, Mark talks about the debate. Mark from Des Plaines.
Hello, Mark. You're on.
Will
it hurt or help Trump? No, that's for today.
Yeah.
What about the new FOIA request filed? Getting Tiny Dancer to go. Responding to Craigslist. I'm thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Who will be the next candidate to drop out? No. Oh, do you want to tease our trip?
No. Tease the trip. We're going to Mexico.
Then you can come with us. Oh, and we're giving away a free trip, but that's later. Somebody who downloads our app. What else is going on in the world? Naughty or nice list? No, I'm just thinking Christmas. Tomorrow's Thursday. Caesar, do we have anyone lined up for tomorrow? Oh, Jesse, that Sharky.
Yeah, how about we stay on topic though? Like, let's do military responses to the political answers.
Okay.
All right, let's do that.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
We'll have military responses to... Go ahead again.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
We'll have military responses to the political answers given by Republican GOP candidates. Republican GOP. God blame Republican presidential candidates. Sorry.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The military responds to the political answers given by Republican presidential candidates.
We're back at 5 a.m. 560, The Answer. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The military responds to the political answers given by Republican presidential candidates.
We're back at 5. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The military responds to the political answers given by Republican presidential candidates.
We're back at 5 a.m. 560, The Answer. Okay.
In Batavia,
Okay, it's in.
Illinois.
Too high. Your property taxes
And I edited
are
it.
too
It's good.
high. Illinois has the second highest property tax rate in the country, a burden that unfairly
Feed the babies.
penalizes people like you. Why
Oh,
does
wait.
Illinois
We're
have
doing
the
debate
second
and then
highest
feed the
property
babies.
tax rate in the country? Because elected officials spend too much money. Year after year, lawmakers promise to freeze the property tax rate. They make false promises at election time and fail to get the job done. The result? Property tax rates go up and up. It's time to force the politicians to keep their promise to voters. Join Americans for Prosperity in the fight to freeze property taxes. Go to afpil.org to start a tax freeze petition in your community. Go to afpil.org to put the brakes on runaway property taxes. If you're sick and tired of ever increasing property taxes, do something about it. Go to afpil.org, paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
8:35 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Like the northbound tri-state has heavy delays from 115th to Ogden, from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, and then from Dundee to Half Day, where there's a crash on the left shoulder. And southbound, there's a long Gapers delay from 120 to 22. The Adams Tollway has delays from Higgins to 53. The Reagan Tollway has cleared up. Veterans Memorial stop and go from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway from North Avenue to 290. The Edens runs 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 32. But the Kennedy, an hour and 12 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 37 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 4 minutes from Thorndale to downtown outbound 45 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Morning showers moving out of the area, leaving us with cloudy and breezy conditions. We'll top out at 52. Cloudy and 30 overnight, 43 at O'Hare, 45 along the lakefront. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Dan and Amy, you watched last night's debate. Did your opinions of any of the candidates, particularly perhaps your preferred candidate, change based on what you heard last night about national security? And as it pertains to Donald Trump specifically, since he's now agreeing to stay in the Republican Party.
Are you ready to reassure Republicans tonight that you will run as a Republican and abide by the decision of the Republicans?
I really am.
All right, there you have it. Game over. Everyone goes home. Everyone goes home happy. I told you yesterday, Dan, that I'm not set on a candidate. I'm still candidate shopping. And after last night's performance or last night's debate, I'm still, I don't know who to vote for. I'm still an undecided voter.
And
this third-rate radio announcer.
Yes, right. Well, here's the thing. Bill McGurn in the Wall Street Journal has had a good week because I mentioned two of his columns in the same week. And so that's important.
You mention it, then it's rock solid.
Well, I mean,
he has a future. I think he's going to be okay.
It's great news for Bill McGurn. I think we can all agree. But he talks about in his piece today the bleak statistics that undergird Trump's support. And why I think that that support is not moving except to the extent that it's inching upward. He writes, beneath the dry statistics of the latest report from labor, we can see the future emerging. Over the next decade, the service sector will provide 95% of all the new jobs. Manufacturing, which shed more than 2 million jobs in the last decade, will shrink by an additional 800,000 to just 7% of the workforce. Of the 15 occupations with the most protected job growth, only 4 ask for a bachelor's degree. 8 require no formal education credentials. 9 offer median annual wages under $30,000. Few Americans know these stats, but most of them are living the reality they represent. In other words, the reduction in the quality of life that working and middle-income families can access and can provide for their children. This is the Trump base support, and it's a bigger chunk of America than I think a lot of Republicans want to admit. And something our friend Greg from Schaumburg said at the outset of this show when we were talking about the debate previously is really an important point, deserves to be reiterated. Trump doesn't have the details, clearly, and he is full of himself and of bombast. But he does have his finger on the sentiment, and that is powerful, and it shouldn't be underestimated. Very similar to how President Obama had his finger on the sentiment of the public in 2008 after 8 years of Bush.
But the only thing that I trust about Donald Trump is that he will surround himself with the best people. I mean, he really will. If he is elected president, I don't know if it's going to happen, but if he is, I think that he knows he's smart enough to seek the advice of others.
Including Ivanka.
Yeah. Well, but also last night, I got to tell you, and I know you're going to disagree with me, but I thought Jeb Bush came back a little bit stronger. He showed that he had a spine, and he took on Donald Trump head on. I mean, he called him what he is, a little bit, the chaos candidate.
Look, this is not a serious proposal. In fact, it will push the Muslim world, the Arab world, away from us at a time when we need to re-engage with them to be able to create a strategy to destroy ISIS. So Donald, is great at the one-liners, but he's a chaos candidate, and he'd be a chaos president. He would not be the commander-in-chief we need to keep our country safe.
And Jeb Bush is Maxwell Smart against chaos.
I know the delivery was a little weak, and he still has that deer in the headlight look, but he came back a little bit more. He showed that he's a little fighting him. And
as predicted here, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, that big slugfest, haymakers back and forth all night, love fest, didn't happen.
Oh, the headlines were great, weren't they?
Well, it was just typical, the typical ignorance of the pundit class and the Washington press corps. What they want, they hype what they want to see happen, just rather than what should be obvious, what will happen. How did Ted Cruz get there? By not taking that bait. He didn't take the bait last night, and neither did Trump. Trump recognizes, I'll tell you, who's a good opponent for me to pillory? Jeb Bush. I do nothing but embolden my base and probably pick up a few more supporters. Jeb Bush wants to take a piece of me. I'll take 2 pieces of him, and that's essentially what happened last night. Let's go to Kurt in Park Ridge.
Hey, I think Ted Cruz won last night, and Carly Fiorina was great always. She just can't get any traction. But, all I heard today is how great Chris Christie was. The only thing he's going to win is a pie eating contest.
Oh,
I don't think he's going to be a nominee.
Thanks for the call,
that
Kurt.
lap band surgery really isn't being effective as I hoped it would have been. I'm sorry, I can't stop looking at the midsection.
Yeah, Christie had his moments, and he's made a bit of a move in New Hampshire, including earning the Manchester Union Leader endorsement. That's been helpful. I've grown a bit weary of Chris Christie and his kind of faux indignation about U.S. senators who don't do anything. In point of fact, those U.S. senators he was decrying on stage yesterday are the ones who authored and passed the Patriot Act that he used as a federal prosecutor to go after terrorists. So, yes, I understand the Senate and the speechifying and the inaction oftentimes. But the demagoguery from Chris Christie, just like the demagoguery from Lindsey Graham in the undercard.
Well, Lindsey Graham, has he stopped crying?
Well, when he's not.
And as Ben Carson stopped coughing.
Lindsey Graham stops crying when he's done telling us who he's going to bomb into oblivion, which is a long list, frankly.
Yeah, we'd be at war with everybody. I think 8 different nations right now.
But for the people who don't like Trump's bombast, and I'm one of them, you also shouldn't tolerate bombast from Christie and Graham. And
who, I always thought Chris Christie was going to be the loud, obnoxious one in the GOP field. Was I wrong?
Well, he could play that role. It's just Trump has crowded out that position a little bit. Let's go to Steve in Wayne, Illinois.
Great show as always, guys.
Thanks.
I like Carly Fiorina. I really don't understand why she's not getting any traction. In my opinion, she's won or tied all of the debates. She's a fantastic communicator. She has the outsider element that Trump has, but she has class and sophistication, and she's a leader.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Steve. I mean, I agree with all of that, except I think it is pretty understandable why she's not getting traction. One is you have to run a campaign. You can't just perform well in debates, and she just hasn't built the campaign infrastructure.
No, she hasn't.
She had her moment after the debate. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get to that, but I mean, she had her moment to try and build something when she first made it to the main stage, and then she performed well, and she had that bump. But there was no campaign to follow. If she's not on the cable news channels 24/7, then there doesn't seem to be a ground game. And we've talked to people in early states that see very little evidence of any kind of campaign infrastructure for Fiorina. Political campaigns are coalition-building exercises. It's not just performing well on TV or during the debates. They're important, but they're not exhaustive in terms of the things you have to accomplish. In terms of her moment last night, you liked it, I didn't.
I'll just add that Margaret Thatcher once said, if you want something talked about, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
She's playing the gender card. I think she's just trying to reach out to undecided female voters who maybe are taking a look at the Republican Party for the first time and deciding they want to support a woman. If they want to do that she's here for them.
I think she's reminding people that she should be the vice president. I thought burning her bra after that was a little excessive.
She didn't do that.
But yeah,
for the panties. Yeah,
playing the gender card is beneath her. It just really is, and I like Carly. Steve in Elk Grove.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Hi, Counselor and Amy. Here's a question for your consideration. If Trump were to get the nomination, who do you think would be a great and effective VP? Or what do you think about Trump being Secretary of State?
Thanks for the call, Steve.
I think Ted Cruz should be Attorney General. Done decision. But,
I think he should be president, but if he's
right,
not Attorney General.
It's a good
Supreme Court Justice. If you have a Republican president with that nominating power. In terms of Trump, not Secretary of State.
No.
In terms of our Trump running mate, I think we just talked about her. I think Trump, Carly Fiorina would be very interesting.
Really?
Maybe Trump, Nikki Haley. I think you're going to want a sharp, younger, doesn't need to be generationally younger, but younger female candidate to run with Trump. I really think this can be necessary. So a successful business person like Fiorina, maybe a successful governor like Nikki Haley. That's the direction I suggest he go, but we'll see. We're a long way from that yet. Charlotte in Arlington Heights.
Hi, I cannot follow Marco Rubio. He speaks too fast. What is his stand on illegal immigration? Those who broke the law, came across the southern border, will they eventually get citizenship? That means the end of the Republican Party. They're going to vote Democrat. Is that what he is saying?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. That's the third step in his disingenuous linear 3-step process of border enforcement and reform, and then pathway to citizenship. That's what I believe is the third step is. Yes.
One more question. He made some statement. If you're an American citizen, you join ISIS, you'll be treated as an enemy combatant. How can you be stripped of your constitutional rights if you join the terrorists, but you still are an American citizen? What is he talking about?
What, we'd be yanking their passports.
Well, no, you can be stripped of your citizenship. There are circumstances, treasonous activity, where you can be stripped of your citizenship. Thanks for the call, Charlotte. I did agree with him about that. You join ISIS, you declare war on the United States by joining ISIS. Yeah, That's the minimum that should happen to you.
I loved last night when Cruz said Rubio's voting record doesn't match his rhetoric when it comes to immigration, and he was right.
Tom in Tinley Park.
Yeah, I think our Second Amendment rights count on the next Supreme Court picks, so that's very important. But the snarkiest comment was from Rand Paul about the bridge.
Yeah. You're right, and Christie didn't take the bait. That was very interesting. A bit of an awkward moment. Christie just kind of took it, paused, and then went on to reestablish the message he's trying to drive, which was smart on Christie's point to not get pulled into that. But thanks for the call, Tom. Ed in LaGrange.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure I agree with Amy. I don't agree with Amy when she says that Trump will surround himself with the best and brightest. You see last night how he's so dismissive of anyone who disagrees with him. And I'd like you to have your comment on his face making and pouting and waving his finger at people. I mean, I just really found it to be the mark of a bully and a goof. And I think that's not going to play well in Iowa and New Hampshire with people that think you're supposed to be more polite to people, especially in some situation like that. I can't consider him listening to people that are going to tell him he's wrong. You've got people on the stage last night saying, you said this 2 months ago, and he's going, no, I didn't.
I think the facial expressions are for show.
Thanks
I mean, he's on
Ed.
the stage. He has to perform. He has to live up to being the Donald Trump character that he has created for himself.
That's right. And the thing about him doing those juvenile things Ed is describing is that that's what's expected. It's built into the price. It's like Hillary lying. Of course she's lying. That's what Hillary does. And so I don't think it has too much of a negative impact on him. He's been doing it all campaign, and you see where he currently stands. I mean, national polls being not necessarily a great predictor of electoral outcomes at this stage, notwithstanding, he hasn't really suffered for that conduct. Dave in Northbrook.
Hey, guys. How you doing today?
Good.
Good. You know, one of the things your guest from the Heritage Foundation last hour made a comment of, talking about immigration, was, here we go, the Republicans are big, half of them are big anti-immigration, and, we really need these people coming in to do these jobs. And I really think he actually missed the point. I thought the candidates did a really good job last night differentiating between, no, we're not anti-immigration. We just want a good, solid, legal immigration. And we don't need illegal immigrants to do these jobs that we're talking about. And I really thought, Marco hit it. I know his voting record's sketchy on it. But his proposal was very cut and dry, and I thought other candidates made a very good differentiation between, no, we're not against immigration. We are against illegal immigration. And there is a definite difference there.
Thanks for the call, Dave. Sean in Elmwood Park.
Not only did Stephen Moore do that, he gave you Bernie Sanders' argument of the workers built the country, Worker Unite Party. Then he went on to endorse Jeb Bush, who maybe Amy could tell me, what was the enlightening sentence that brought Jeb back from the halls of irrelevance? What exactly did he say? Because I listened to it. I heard absolutely nothing, zero. And the idea that we're going to now pretend that a third-generation corporatist, a guy whose foreign policy from his father has destroyed and added to the debt trillions and provided us with nothing but huge problems. He should be hauled off the stage. Then my favorite part is when Chris Christie wants us to focus on his decisions. You've been downgraded 9 times. You got a size 62 pants. Decisions, not your strong point, Fatso.
Step away from the buffet.
I love my dad. I'd kill for him. I'd go to prison for him because I love him so much.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I love Sean. The rain, light drizzle in places otherwise by this afternoon. It's going to be mostly cloudy, breezy, mild, a high of 52. And tomorrow, let me try that again, which is Thursday. It's going to be cloudy, breezy, colder, a high in the mid-30s. Travel times, here's Jim Delamonte.
Thank you, Amy. It's still brutal on the Tri-State Tollway. Northbound jammed 115th to Ogden from the Reagan Tollway most of the way to Balmoral near 190. And it's heavy approaching 22 where there was an earlier crash. And southbound, it's really slow from 120 to 176. Eastbound Adams Tollway bottled up from Barrington Road to Meacham. Northbound Veterans Memorial still slow about into the Reagan Tollway and North Avenue to 290. The Kennedy, an hour and 10 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 42 minutes from Montrose, 28 in the Express, outbound 35 to the airport. Eden's 27 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 30. The Ike, at an hour and 4 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 45 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
The Gun Safety Guy's mission is pure and simple: to help good people safely enjoy recreational shooting and improve their ability to protect themselves and their family responsibly. This is what Pastor Ed Bryant, the Gun Safety Guy, has built for you and your family. Pastor Bryant's background and experience enables him to communicate with all of his students, no matter what their age, gender, or ability. New shooters learn the fundamentals, experienced shooters develop their skills, and above everything, all shooters are taught to value safety first. Family-friendly firearms instruction is the core of the Gun Safety Guy, and I know because I took his basic pistol class, which was excellent. So give the gift of firearm safety this holiday season. Gift certificates are available. Learn more at thegunsafetyguy.com. That's thegunsafetyguy.com. Family-friendly firearms instruction with NRA-certified instructor Pastor Ed Bryant, thegunsafetyguy.com. But wait, there's more. 'Tis the season of gift giving, and also for New Year's resolutions. If someone you love would like to learn how to safely operate a firearm, visit thegunsafetyguy.com. There, you or your loved one can register for NRA-accredited classes as well as the Illinois Concealed Carry class. But right now, if you are caller number
9,
999 to 312-642-5600, be caller number 9 right now to win a $150 gift certificate towards a firearms class from the Gun Safety Guy.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Gentlemen, Dan Proft here. The holidays are now upon us. Do you want to give the gift that keeps on giving? How about giving yourself a healthier life and more energy to do the things you want to do with family and friends? If you've been feeling like a grumpy old man lately, it's time to get your testosterone level checked at Low T Center. I did. It's quick, easy, and with their on-site lab, you'll know your results in minutes. Plus, their services are covered by most health insurance. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, like Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, and can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. Low T Center even has convenient, flexible hours. So give yourself the gift that keeps on giving this December. Call Low T Center now and tell them Dan Proft sent you. Call today, 630-409-4305. That's 630-409-4305, or go to lowtcenter.com.
Townstone Financial is synonymous with great rates, low closing costs, and phenomenal service to the thousands who have completed purchases and refinances with us since 2002. Hi, my name is Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
My name is John Serlick. I'm a trial lawyer in Chicago. The reason I've chosen Townstone over the years is because of my schedule, and I don't have a lot of time to worry about staying on top of other people to make sure that a loan closes or all the paperwork is done. They do the worrying for me. They're the ones who keep me on schedule and keep the whole process on schedule to not only apply for the loan, but then once you're approved, to close the loan.
Remember, nobody values your business more than Townstone Financial, and I'm always available to answer your questions. Call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois, mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639. Equal housing lender.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and leave your information, I'll send you the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-970-6156. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. Call 800-970-6156 now.
If you suffer from depression, consider TMS, an incredible new advancement in treating and relieving depression.
I'm Gina, and I suffered with depression for 19 years. And like most people, I tried medications and I couldn't tolerate the side effects, and they never worked properly for me. TMS was a great thing. It helped me out so much. Now I have the sparkle back in my eyes, and I'm able to feel great about life again. It worked really great for me, and I would absolutely recommend it to anybody suffering with depression.
TMS, or transcranial magnetic stimulation, is a safe, non-invasive, and highly effective treatment for drug-resistant depression. Most insurance companies cover TMS, including Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Medicare. Depression can be beaten, and without drugs. To schedule a free consultation, call Theramind at 847-562-5868 or go to tmsmind.com.
Thanks so much for making us a part of your morning. Our thanks to David Stripling, the technical director, and Cesar Perez, the executive producer.
Shake and bake.
We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're following right now. Chicago aldermen hold hearings on the police shooting of teen Laquan McDonald. Judge acquits a Carrollton College student from Evanston in the crash that killed 3 of his fellow students. High school teacher in Oak Park charged with sexually assaulting a student. Michael Jordan picks 23 charities for funds from his legal tiff, and the Avs whitewash the Blackhawks.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. They're 2 and 3 in many polls, so Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio got